मैंने तो अपने bio में भी लिख दिया, I'm here to listen. That's it.
That's nice. I mean, not nice, but like that happens with me all the time. And whenever we have guests on the channel, people are always like, why is she not speaking?
I know exactly what you mean, dude. You know, a lot of times I'm on Clubhouse and then there are these group discussions going on. And I see people just seamlessly talk without overlapping. And I'm like, how the hell are you doing this?
Is it improvised or like, did you guys practice? What is it?
Exactly. Are you messaging each other that I don't know? Fuck, dude. It's a superpower.
It's nice to meet someone who goes through the same thing.
Yeah.
But are you like an introvert or like, are you shy?
दोनों में difference है क्या?
Okay, I'll start with the book recommendation. I know you're supposed to tell us about books.
Yes.
But there is this book called Quiet by Susan Cain. Okay. I read it and it changed my life, and I'm also distracted by the big pimple I have here. But
I didn't even see that. I was like, that's a dimple, I thought.
No. But she changed my life because she writes about the extrovert ideal, how a lot of us have been taught to idolize the extroverts. Like you have to be the team leader, you have to be the school prefect, and so on.
Yeah.
And she talks about introverts, and that's when I learned being shy is different, being an introvert is different. Like introverts can be alpha as well.
Yeah.
But like shy people are mostly, they need time to open up. An extrovert can also be shy, but an introvert just needs time and space and energy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm an introvert because I found my tribe. You know, I found the people I get along with. I'm 31, you know. So for me to make like friendships at this age is really hard. And I found my friends in college who have context to my life, who I meet every day, who I'm fortunate enough to have in and around in the same city. So I have like work colleagues and like I know them in work space, whatever. But मेरे दोस्त हैं और उनके साथ I'm like खुला एकदम, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll never be like that with like my work colleagues ever. Like I'll have like one work friend who I am really good friends with, and then she's like just that. Like I can't have like too many friends because then you have to invest time also.
Yeah.
If you tell them about your life, then you also have to listen to about their life. इतना time नहीं है किसी के पास.
Nice. That's nice. How do you decide? Okay, this is a very ऐसे बहुत wide question, but like, how do you decide like here is where I'm going to invest my time? Like because it happens with me a lot. I am an introvert and I'm very, very strict about my space. Like if you start, like I know, like I have 3 friends. मेरी औकात नहीं है कि मैं इससे ज़्यादा invest कर सकती हूँ. So like the moment I like someone starts to get very friendly, I'm like, hey, just stay there, stay put.
Yeah.
And yeah, so does that happen with you as well, or like do you have a strategy there, like this is what I like and this is what I don't?
So I'm not a very approachable person. And I think that works in my favor. Kyunki zyada, I mean, I'm not like I'm a nice person if you talk to me, but I don't have that, like I'm not a very chatty person in general. So I mean, if you and I are in the same environment for years and years, eventually over a period of time, like it's never like quick friendships don't happen. It's not like we'll meet today and then tomorrow we're discussing plans and then the day after we've met for coffee and like we're constantly wishing each other happy birthday and oh my god, you've changed my life on like Instagram and all of that. But I think I'm just not an approachable person, so people only draw the line with me. There's just this much energy we'll get from her.
Right. So if you're like, I'm guessing you're shy, like how does that play out in your stand-up comedy? Like when you're performing, does that come in way?
No. Stand-up for me started only because it was the only platform where I could talk without thinking what comes out of my mouth. Like, you know, when you're hanging out with people in a social environment and you just say things that come, you know, muh fat jisko bolte hai, right? And then sometimes it's not in good taste. And then as you grow older, you become more and more aware कि oh shit, इनके सामने ऐसा नहीं बोलना चाहिए, इनके सामने ये नहीं बोलना चाहिए. But stand-up was the only place where I could say anything. It was anyway a one-way thing. I had the microphone. Usually they don't talk back to you. Usually that's the format.
Yeah.
So, and it was a very underground scene when I started. I mean, I'm still an underground comic, an indie comic or whatever. So it's the only platform where I literally don't care what comes out of my mouth. And I like that. It's very cathartic and liberating that I don't have to think twice before what the other person is going to say, because I'm like, हाँ ठीक है ना, तुम लोगों के सामने अगर ये नहीं चला तो कोई और audience आएगी और उनके सामने try करूंगी. Like there's no attachment there.
So do you also have this process of writing a script and everything? And how do you like usually go about it? Do you write every day and then you practice in front of multiple people and then work on it until it just like becomes, until you're like, you've perfected according to you the joke?
I mean, ideally you should write every day. And in my head, I am
You
that
do
person who aspires to write every day, but I don't write every day. But I mean, starting के सालों में मैंने बहुत लिखा था. Like I would properly write, perfect every word.
Yeah.
Then over a period of time, you stop writing as much, but you start making notes in your phone, because now you kind of have the hang of the art form, right? So you kind of make notes, and then you, like, there are two schools of comedians who write and perform because words are important to them, and comedians who write on stage. I think I'm like somewhere like in between. Like I write my bullet points out and then I'll throw it out in public and see how the words frame while talking. And then I'll keep repeating. And if something, and we always audio record our sets, but I never listen to my sets. But because I can't listen to myself, you know how you can't ever listen to your voice notes? It's like that. But if something you've tried new and the audience has laughed, that will always stick with you, no matter whether you listen to it or not, because that moment will feel like an aha moment, So you remember that, and then you get on stage the next day, and then you build on that. That's been my process of late. It's not a very efficient process, but it works for me, and that's that.
Has it always been like that for you, where you just like make points and then you go on the stage and then you perform it like impromptu, or like was there a time when you would actually sit down, script, and then do so?
Yeah, I do. Like, I mean, I think this has only been my process in the last, I've been doing stand-up since 2012. So this has only been my process in the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 3.5 years. But I will take time down and I will write, maybe like once in a week, so I will properly take time and write down my thoughts, frame words. But in the starting, when I like for a good 5-6 years, I like wrote down everything. And plus, like I would also like on Twitter also, you're constantly like tweeting premises and thoughts. So that's also good feedback for you. If it works on Twitter, then let's try that premise out on stage. So that's also a way to test your jokes.
Who's your favorite stand-up comic who does impromptu scenes and who makes a proper script?
So no comedian ever does improv. Like in the sense, like nobody ever just says anything. Every comedian ever will have some idea कि मुझे ये बोलना है, मुझे इस topic पे करना है.
Yeah.
But from all the podcasts I've heard, Bill Burr is a comedian who writes on stage. He has never written a joke down ever. He has thoughts in his mind and he just rants. He's a very angry comedian. And I love him. I love him. So he is a great comedian for somebody who doesn't write.
Mm-hmm.
And comedians who do write, now there isn't another better example than Jerry Seinfeld. He writes like everything. Like everything is like perfectly worded, and there is no gap. And there is like he will I watch his podcasts a lot. Okay. And he's an inspiration, and he talks about how he writes every day. He's 61 or 62. And every time I listen to his podcast, that time I'm like, bas, ab to roz hi likhna hai. Ab to likhna hi hai. And then the minute the podcast is over, the motivation is also gone. So, yeah.
Nice. Do you also like, so you said like Bill Burr is a very angry comedian. Like, would
Yeah.
you also have a word for yourself in that way?
I mean, I also rant, but not a lot. I rant when I'm in the mood to rant. And honestly, I really like that vibe. I really like being angry on stage, you know,
Nice. Are you
because
angry in real life as well, or like do you take out is that a way to channel your frustration?
yeah, I think I have a temper. I think no, I know I have a temper. Lekin it's not temper. It's like, how your mom would tell you कि ज़बान देखो कैसी चल रही है. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't rant. I'm not a ranty comic. I don't know what's the word for me, but I would say I'm a personal comic. Like it's a lot of my stories because I used stand up as a form of catharsis for me to be able to say the things that come to my mind, which I can't say in front of others because I know this is not the right environment. So it's a
Yeah.
lot. So it's a personal person. I would say I'm a personal comic.
Nice. And how do you like, because you said you're like, yeah, but how do you deal with hecklers if there are any in the crowd? Like, abhi to, there must be like Zoom shows happening, but when you perform live, how
Yeah.
do you deal with hecklers? Does it get awkward? Do you get angry? Do you lose your temper? Or like, do you just humor it out or ignore them?
Um. In fact, it's harder to handle hecklers on Zoom shows. Yeah. It's like,
Really?
yeah, because
Can't you just mute them all?
you can, but then where is the spirit of you being a comic then in that,
Yeah.
right? Of course you can mute them, and of course we've done it. लेकिन उसे जो बोलना था उसने तो out of turn बोल दिया, and you can't mute them. The producer who's hosting the link has to find कि किसका mic चल रहा है, कौन बोल रहा है, फिर उसको ढूंढ के mute करो.
So how
It's
do you deal with it?
I mean, अगर जूही चावला के कोर्ट हियरिंग में कोई उसके हियरिंग में जाके गाना गा सकता है तू 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 तारा, तो मतलब सोनाली ठक्कर के ओपन माइक में कोई जूम पे हैकल कर ही सकता है. Okay, in live shows I take it in stride. I If they heckle, I mean, I'll reply back. It's never been something that has taken me off guard where I'm like, हाय हाय ये तो क्या ही बोल दिया आपने, मैं तो रोने लगी. ऐसे कभी नहीं हुआ है. But I mean, I started out as a heckler in life, Before doing comedy, I used to attend comedy shows and heckle. And I knew I wanted to do comedy the day I heckled a big comic. And I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? Kya mujhe ye karna hai? And, people laughed at my heckle. So it was a great, like, oh, fuck, did I say something funny? So every time a woman has heckled me, I'm like, I know a part of you wants to do stand up, so just get on stage and do it, because I know that was it for me. So I think I have empathy towards hecklers. I think.
Nice. Nice. And like, has it ever got to you where you just like, it got to you like the heckling? Or someone like in the audience must have commented something. Did it get you ever? Like,
Yeah, once.
like, how did you deal with it? Like, how did you get out of it?
I was hosting a show at a place in Andheri, and Andheri Juhu kahin to tha, Bombay mein. And hosting a show means that you start the show. It's an open mic, and every comic ke beech mein aake, you have to like do bits, keep the crowd engaged. So you have to be there for the whole show. I don't enjoy hosting, but you do it because it's a skill. What you don't like, padhai karte waqt people will be like, what you don't like, you should start with that first. So
Yeah.
I force myself to host shows. And there was this lady who just got up with her partner in the middle of the show and left. And then when she got up, as a comic, you can't not acknowledge, So I was like, hey ma'am, kahan ja rahe ho aap? Ye wo वगैरह हंसी मजाक, and then she looks at me and says, I just can't tolerate you. And I was like, why would you say that to me? Why can't you just bitch about me behind my back like a normal person? Like what? Oh God.
Did it get to you like was it like visible on your face? Like, I'm so sorry I'm asking this. Like, I don't
No,
want to,
you don't have
yeah.
to be sorry. It's completely fine.
Did
I'm
like,
totally over it. The fact
did you
that I
snap
remember
out of it
narrating.
immediately or did it take some time?
So I remember narrating the incident to like my friends and saying, because I'd been doing stand-up for like 4 years. So I had developed a level of thick skin, and you do develop thick skin when you're doing stand-up. I mean, so many times you perform to like one audience member and stuff like that, open mics, and it happens. And if the audience member is like, nahi, mujhe to dekhna hi hai show, तो तुम्हें करना होगा एक ऑडियंस मेंबर के लिए. So this was still like a full show, so I'm pretty thick skinned is what I thought. And so I'm narrating to my friends and I'm like, ha ha ha, she said this to me, I can't believe it. And then I'm saying this to my mom and I'm like, this lady walked out of my show and she said, I can't tolerate you. And bolte bolte I just started crying, dude. And my mom is like, what has happened to her? She was just narrating it normally and now she's crying. So yeah, I think it sunk in a little later. But I think that's the only isolated incident. Like I've never faced anything else other than that.
But how would you suggest someone to do, like, heckling happens, like, it's just like something we recognize in stand-up comedy, but it's something that happens everywhere.
Yeah.
If
In
you want
fact,
to see. So what would be your lesson or maybe takeaway or like suggestion to someone who wants to deal with it but is not able to get out of it or snap out of it? Because sometimes every day you're going about your work and then there's just one comment.
yeah.
And something just like, it's just, how do you snap out of it? Because sometimes it happens to me. I'm not able to snap out of a comment that someone made. मेरा पूरा दिन ऐसे downhill चला जाता.
Yeah, but you have to, it's like a con of the game. Like you can't change it. You can't, you either accept it, have a thick skin and move on. But you can't alter it. You have to just accept it that somebody said, and develop, host. If you're a stand-up comic, host enough shows. And I say host, I don't mean do sets. Host enough shows where you're interacting with the crowd, where if somebody heckles you in the middle, you know how to deal with it. Do enough audience interactions so you know how to deal with it. As far as YouTube comments goes, I don't upload that many videos online, so my advice is very limited. But then again, I always think of myself as a star in my head.
Yeah.
Like my immediate comparison is like Deepika Padukone को भी इतने negative comments आते हैं तो वो थोड़ी ना फिल्म में बंद कर रही है. So
right.
In my head, I always compare my situation to Deepika Padukone. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm like, just think about all the stuff that they have to just read, and you just have to develop a thick skin.
Always compare yourself to someone who's above you.
Exactly. And I also, you are putting yourself out there, right? So if you have it in you to accept the good comments, so then have it in you to accept the bad comments also.
Right.
So अगर किसी ने तुम्हें लिखा है कि yeah, great joke, loved it, so then, and your mind immediately goes like, हाँ, इसे पता है comedy, this guy knows. This is the right audience. And then somebody writes like, was this a joke? And then you can't be like, तुम्हें comedy आती है, तुमने कभी comedy किया है, तुम कभी stage पे आए हो, yada yada. You can't say that. If you like the good comment, you have to like the bad comment.
How do you deal with these silences? Has there ever been a show where you performed and the audience was just dead? Like
so many times.
How do you deal with that? Because sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you're streaming and there might just not be any audience watching you. It's just like they just don't like what you're talking about that day, or there's nobody in the comments chat. There are people, but they're just not commenting anything. So like, how do you deal with that?
Is that happening right now? I don't know. I mean, honestly, it would phase me earlier if I would bomb. That's the terminology in stand-up. Like if you do well, you kill, and if you don't do well, you bomb. That's it's just, I don't know why. Like, it's, if you do well, it's like, you killed, you murdered, you just destroyed. Like, I don't know why these are the adjectives, but this is what it is.
Like bomb should also be something similar. Not that I want to correct it.
No, but the way you said bombed, it's like that.
Nice.
I think it's good to bomb now. I realize there's more to learn in your art form in silences than an audience where everything you say is working. It's now I'm at that stage where I can understand the beauty of a bomb, where you go home, you don't feel dejected, you feel doubly motivated to want to make it better.
Right.
I mean, of course it upsets me, but I don't know, that's earlier I would like feel, it would hit me a lot. I remember once when I bombed, मैंने 1 महीने के लिए stand up नहीं किया था. I was really like upset with it. But then I went, watched an open mic, and then I was like, I think I want to get back to it again. And yeah, after that, I never reconsidered it.
That's nice. I've started doing this thing in my streams. If I've started accepting the silences, I take time to like, if something is like, so like if you're talking right now, if you take a pause, I'll let that happen. I don't know, let it sink in, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll be more laid back. There are times when I just cannot talk and I get like overwhelmed because I'm speaking right now and I'm speaking alone. I just take time and I'm like, cool, let me just breathe.
Take a moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love it, you know, sometimes when you bomb and you don't make eye contact with the green room, right? And then some senior comic or somebody will come up to you and be like, yeah, it looks like they're listening. They're listening. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bitch. I know they're listening because I heard the fucking silence.
What's like, I don't know, like, what's like the most interesting interaction you've had with someone from green screen where they've just been like, they're trying to console you for something bad that's happened, but you're like, yeah, I know, like, has it ever gotten awkward? Like, where they've been like, yeah, they're listening, and then you're like,
no, so the incident where I told you I bombed real hard when I took a month break, this one lady came up to me, everybody was going out, leaving the bar after the gig was over, और मैं ऐसे कोने में खड़ी थी because clearly I was like dejected AF, and she looks at me, she pats me, she's like, you're cute. And I was like, oh god, why is she saying this? So yeah, I think that was one.
and what was your star moment, like, apart from like Hrithik Roshan telling you I enjoyed your set? Like that can also be one if you want to like.
That was definitely my best moment, honestly. Like, I mean, I've performed in bigger rooms. I think the first time when I performed in a 3,000 seater was, I think, one of the first moments when I was like, oh fuck, रोंगटे खड़े हो गए थे मेरे जब मैंने पहली बार 3,000 seater में perform किया था. फिर I think these were my highs, like when I performed for Melbourne Comedy Festival for a month. That was a beautiful experience for me. Like, I'd always wanted to be an international comic also, as well as performing to my country. And in my being a bilingual comic, I also always wanted to be an international comic. So that really felt like my dream was coming true, you know. एक महीने के लिए तुम एक venue पे 5 comedians from different countries performing 20 minutes every day, same jokes every day to different crowds, doing different other shows, hanging out in the festival environment was just beautiful. Like when you're at immigration and you know, the officer asks you, right, like, why are you visiting the country, और तुम्हारी कितनी फट जाती है तब कि ये क्या पूछ रहा है, right? And you're like, I am here for the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And I didn't even say Melbourne, I said I'm here for a comedy festival. And he's like, oh, you're here for the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And I'm like, यार यहाँ के मतलब immigration officers को भी पता है कि comedy festival हो रहा है, क्या बात है. Like, I was like in 7th heaven that time. So I've had like great professional highs, but Hrithik Roshan appreciating my 5-minute performance at Comedy Store will forever be my biggest life's high. मेरा एक उसके साथ फोटो भी है ब्लैकबेरी में, शायद मुझे ढूंढना चाहिए ब्लैकबेरी को चार्ज
Have you
करके।
posted it anywhere?
नहीं यार, ये ब्लैकबेरी के दिनों में था, तो मतलब तुम्हारे BBM का डिस्प्ले पिक्चर बनाया था मैंने। But I am terrible with backups. I don't take a backup at all, you know.
This is, I don't know, had I been at your, like in your place, I'm not saying you should do the same, but like I would have gone out with it.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't take a backup, dude. This is like some 8 years ago. मैंने कल का backup नहीं लिया है, तो मतलब 8 साल पहले का तो impossible. But my husband takes a backup of all his. So he has thank God we clicked our first date picture on his phone. Because he took a backup and he has it. अगर मेरे phone में होता तो no chance.
Oh God, this is amazing. Do you also like, you were telling me that you also read books related to stand-up comedy. Like,
yes.
What are your favorite recommendations by anyone who's starting out maybe, or anyone who just wants to learn? Do you think, I also have this question, like, do you think you can learn from the books as well? Like, there are a lot of people who just bypass books, like, hey, iski documentary ban chuki hai, iske upar movie ban chuki hai.
Yeah.
Do you think the learning is different when you're actually opening a book and then going through it?
I mean, I read books about comedy because there is no course to study it. I mean, of course, there are workshops and all now, but there is no college that you go to for comedy, right? And I am a comedy nerd and I love studying the subject. I love understanding jokes. I love understanding how they were created. I love reading about comedians. I love reading about their journey, how they started. अगर तुम किसी और के process के बारे में पढ़ोगे, that will only be an inspiration for you. How the history, I like knowing about the history of comedy, about what venues they were and how they did comedy back in the days. और अगर तुम किसी और, like a big comedian writes about their struggle, that inspires you कि struggle तो इन्होंने भी किया था ना, तो ठीक है, हम तो मतलब संभल ही जाएंगे. So I love, I mean, it helps me. I like that. So my recommendations would be, sorry, I wrote about it in my notes.
Right.
The first book I would recommend is my favorite comedian's book, which is Dear Girls by Ali Wong. Okay, I love, she's my favorite comedian. Then I would recommend the books that I read while starting out were Bedwetter by Sarah Silverman, because I was a bedwetter. So I was like, oh, thank God. Somebody I look up to was also a bedwetter. And that bedwetting stories.
Bedwetter, like
bedwetter matlab
no, I know bedwetter, but like what is it essentially about? Is it memoir or is it?
It's a memoir. All these comedians' books are like all memoirs about how they started, what was their childhood, how they got into comedy, what is their relationship with their peers, their parents, what were the initial bits they wrote, and success. So that's the arc of every memoir. Girl with the Lower Back Tattoo by Amy Schumer. And I would say reading about Born Standing Up by Stephen Wright. These are my favorite. Steve Martin. Stephen Wright. Steve Martin. These are my books, I would say. I would suggest. Nice. But Ali Wong is like my favorite.
What was like your major takeaway from all these books? Something that you found that connected every book? Like, was there anything that you found common in all the 4 books?
That you have to be so in love with the art form. You have to, like, of course, being funny is extremely important in stand-up, but your work ethic is even more important. Like, you have to want to do it every day, day in and day out. And I think that was like something that was like a common thread amongst all of them. Like, So you'll see so many people who are funny on Twitter, so many
Right.
people. It's a physically challenging job,
Yeah.
to go from one spot to another spot. When I say spots, I mean not everybody does 1 hour in a go. तुम एक शो करोगे जहां 10 कॉमिक्स होंगे लाइनअप पे, सब 10-10 मिनट कर रहे हैं, तो एक शो में तुम अगर दिन में 4 शो कर रहे हो, तो one show starts at 8 o'clock, the second show starts at 8:30, some show will start at 9 o'clock, so you're going first in one show, then you travel to another place, then you're going second over there, then you're going like fifth on the lineup, and then another show you're doing where you're last, so you're doing like anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes at each of these shows, and you could have to travel anytime, anywhere from like a Lower Parel to Bandra, which is, I don't know how to explain it to you, but you've been to Bombay now.
Yeah.
हाँ, तो तुम्हें पता है कि
I'm
लोअर
just
परेल
so
और
tired
बैंड्रा,
listening to this.
लोअर परेल और बैंड्रा में मतलब एक जगह में ऑटो रिक्शा और एक जगह में ऑटो नहीं है. That's how far they are. So it's a very physically challenging job. So I mean, yeah, I think your work ethic also matters, and I think that was the most common.
Do you ever feel burnt out? Like I was talking to Amit Verma, like he was here last week.
Yeah.
I was telling him, like I asked him, because these are genuine questions that I have as well. Like, how do you avoid getting burnt out? And he said this thing that, like you said, he said you have to have this warmth for your work.
Yeah.
And like, how do you avoid getting burnt out? Or are there days when you actually get tired and then you just take a moment to recover?
So I, before I got married, and I think I've managed to practice it even now, but I will take like 2 months off or minimum 1 month off, and I'll go traveling somewhere.
In a year?
Yeah, in a year. Okay. Like I will, I mean, there are years when I've taken 3 months off, but then there wasn't that much comedy happening. So I wasn't like letting go of that much stage time. But minimum 1 month at a go, I will take that off because I love traveling. And it is a way for me to recharge myself. And or I'll go on a trek. I love trekking. I love spending time in nature. It is a great way. It's my meditation for me. And yeah, I mean, even after shadi, like I'll take that 1 week or 2 weeks of solo trips. I still do. I mean, pehle bhi solo trips hi the. And after shadi also, I'll make that time. That was like something I had already told my husband, that you cannot, I mean, I will be going for my solo trips, and I hope that's okay. Nice. So yeah, of course you get burned out, but I will, if I'm traveling at a place and that has an open mic or there is comedy happening there, I can't not do it. True. I will do it. मैं तो अपने हनीमून के पहले दिन भी कॉमेडी करने गई थी. So yeah, so I mean, I'll take that break. But if you put me in a place where stand-up is happening, no fucking way will I not get on stage. That's not. Oh my god, मैं तो guilt से मरी जाऊंगी. No way.
You know, there was a comment of, like, I had told you before we started, I'll try to find a politically correct way, like a nice way to ask this. But there was someone like who said, I don't know who commented, like, bitching to karo male comedians ki. This is Indian.
Bitching. Nahin.
We are not going to bitch about it.
He has too much confidence that I'll do it on a public platform.
Yeah, but I just don't, like, yeah. But like, have you ever had moments where people mansplain things to you? Or like, there was this podcast which was happening on Scoop Whoop and all the male comedians were there, and someone asked, like, is female representation missing in India? Which was very sarcastic because there was no female comic there. So like, what do you think is there? Like, I don't want to ask like whether new female comics are coming here, but what it is like to have female representation in the comic circle, like in the stand-up comedy circle.
I would rather be called on a panel if they found me funny versus for representation sake. True. So yeah. I don't like that if I'm called for representation. And honestly, I feel like if the guy who, or I don't know about the Scoop Whoop thing you're talking about, but
it was like in a very good, like it was very good humor.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody should have the free will to call whoever they find funny, dude. You know, अगर उस इंसान को जिसने पॉडकास्ट होस्ट किया था उसे वो 5 कॉमिक्स पसंद है who he or she relates to, so I think it's okay for that person to call those comics. He shouldn't call a female comic just because he wants society's approval. He should call, or he or she, whoever was hosting, should call a female comic if they relate to her comedy, or
Have
if
you ever, like, I think, like, I asked it in a way that did not make sense, but like, have you ever felt like, I don't want to make it the feminism ka issue. I just want to ask, like, how are, okay, I'll have to frame it better because it's not working out. But
अरे पूछ लो यार क्या है तुम्हारी तो फैंस देख रहे
like,
हैं.
because when we are like, I don't know, it's been happening to me. Like, I grew up in a small town, and there are certain things, like, they talk about representation because in a way you get validation when someone like you is on stage, right? And how are things like that working out for you in the comedy circle when you see more women coming up front? And of course it feels nice because there is more, like, aise aapka same gender and you can have, I don't know, that came out so wrong, but like, how does it affect you personally when you see so many women growing? And in a way, how does it affect the enthusiasm that you have for the art?
I mean, honestly, it's always great. With every year, the number of women in the scene are growing, and it will never stop. That number is never going to stop, and it's always great because then you also have like a variety.
I'm just not talking about the Indian scene, but I'm talking about globally. Like, there are
Yeah.
more women who are coming out, and then you kind of feel validated as well.
So I'll tell you why Ali Wong is one of my favorite comedians, other than the fact that she's intensely funny. She's married. She filmed her first special when she was pregnant. She filmed her second special on Netflix when she was pregnant. She tours with her kids. And honestly, she's the only stand-up comic I know, female stand-up comic I know who does that. But that's all you need. You need one trailblazer to show you that it can be done. And that instills a confidence of another level कि तुम ये toddlers के साथ भी कर सकते हो. You can go to other cities with your child, and that's possible. And that is, I've never seen anybody else do it. I have heard of people do it in other fields, and that's motivating also. लेकिन तुम्हारे अपने field में कोई ये करके दिखाए, that's motivating to another level. So I think that's how more women in comedy has impacted me in a positive way. Otherwise, because I didn't see female comics, like, everyone I would look, now they're getting married and having kids, but she's the only one I saw who did it. So that's how it's affected me.
Nice. I mean, I think, like, I actually started reading this and it's widely recommended on the channel. I recommend it to every person I meet. This is a 3-part autobiography series of memoir series of this author called Deborah Levy.
Okay.
And I talk about it in, like, I don't know, I think I'm still coming out of, like, I read the book, like the second part earlier this year, and then the third part just finished. So I think I'll keep on talking about it for another year.
Yeah.
But this 3-part series has Deborah Levy. She's written it, and in the first part she talks about her 40s, in the second part she talks about her 50s, third part she talks about her 60s. Now, the way we've learned about feminism is always like you want everyone to be equal and everything. And I read the second book, and it changed the way I treat my mother, because it talks about how we are so elite in the way we are feminist as well. We talk about, like, hey, women should do this, women should do that. We support their dreams and everything. But especially, like, in our homes where we're like, hey, you should, why don't you do this, ma? Like, why do you always have to be after my life? Why can't you have a life of your own? Like,
yeah.
And the moment she starts having that, we're like, what are you doing? And that kind of changed my life. And I don't know, that's where, like, I think what I meant was which you did, you answered, like, absolutely correctly, even though I asked a very stupid question in a very stupid way.
No, not at all, not at all.
I didn't frame it well.
Questions.
But it was just like, how does it feel to have the representation coming in? Because initially when we start out, I think, like, you really don't get the sort of representation that you're looking for. Like there will be women comics, but there won't be someone who's married, say. That's coming in now.
Yeah.
You will have a stand-up comic who's maybe a woman, but she won't be Asian.
Yeah.
Like, how does that affect you? Like,
I didn't get your question. Like, why?
yeah, you answered it well. Like she's getting married, and then so like now you see her that happening, and you say like, hey, I can do it as well. And that was the basis of
like
it.
my mother, she's always been a working mom all her life, you know. So she used to tell me, and she's a stockbroker. Okay, so she used to go to the market, और मतलब computers तो खैर कुछ 15 सालों से आए हैं. उसके पहले it used to be like on floor trading, so you had to go to the ring and stuff like that. And she used to tell me about how she used to go to the ring even when she was pregnant with me. And these are all great stories, but मैं थी नहीं वो देखने. Right. So these are all great stories to like give me protsahan and everything. But like watching watching Ali Wong was like, you know, my mother's always been like a great inspiration, is a great inspiration for me. But in my watching somebody do that in my own field is different.
Nice. Has there ever been a book which is like changed the way you think about life?
No, only life events have changed the way I think about life.
What was like
life में मैंने कोई ऐसी बुक नहीं पढ़ी है कि इसके बाद की वो मेरी विचारधारा ही बदल गई.
What were the top like 2 books out of like top 50 recommendations that you had in your list? Like the 2 books from the top 50 recommendations.
The first book I wrote, although I don't know if I wrote it in the right order, although Ali Wong was the third book I wrote, the first book I wrote was 6 Suspects by Vikas Swaroop.
Yeah.
Which was a fantastic book because I read his book Q&A after Slumdog Millionaire. When I came to know कि ये तो इंडियन ऑथर के बुक से बनाई थी, I was like, क्या बात कर रहे हो, इंडियन ऑथर के बुक से बनाई है. तो मैंने वो बुक पढ़ी. बुक मुझे काफी बोरिंग लगी थी. मतलब अच्छी थी बुक. If I would have read the book before watching the movie, I would have really enjoyed the book, I think. But I was intrigued with his style of writing, you know. So I bought the second book called 6 Suspects. And that was a great book, yaar. Matlab, I'll never reread a book. I'm not that person. People who reread books, I'm like, wow, aap to great you. Yeah, you know, reread. I'm rereading. I know people who read Harry Potter books. I'm rereading it for the 10th time.
I'm reading Harry Potter right now, but I'm reading it for the first time.
I'm not a Harry Potter person. I think that ship has sailed. I think it's gone.
No, I'm actually enjoying it. The only trouble I have is I know like Snape's always, so I can't see him as a bad person now.
Yeah. He just looked like a bad person.
Yeah.
Then eventually you come to know. Yeah. But so 6 Suspects by Vikas Swaroop, because it was properly like a thriller and the way it was written and all, it was very nice. Second book I wrote was
every time you said the first book I wrote was, I was like, hey, I've written a book.
Sorry, no, in my notes. काश मेरे में उतनी मतलब patience होती.
You'll start writing every day and you'll get there.
मैं tweets लिख दूं वही बड़ी बात है. मेरे फोटो के लिए caption लिख दूं वही बड़ी बात है. Second book was Memoirs of a Geisha. I read that book before the movie was made. And oh my God, वो book पढ़ने के बाद I was like, I'm a reader. I am a certified reader, you guys. And जब मौका मिले ना, तब मैं like conversation के बीच में, even the conversation is not connected to the book, I would be like, guys, I just read Memoirs of a Geisha. Like people would be sitting in a restaurant and be like, क्या order करना है? So speaking of order, I ordered this book, Memoirs of a Geisha.
I was just reading it.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the fact that I read that book. And then the third book I wrote was Ali Wong's book. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I really like, my favorite thing to do is Google which movies are going to be made from books, and then fatafat read all those books.
Are you planning to read Dune?
No, I mean that phase is gone now. Now I'm such a but I tell you, the book I'm reading right now is getting made into a movie. The book I'm reading right now is Club You to Death by Anuja Chauhan. Anuja Chauhan books also I love a lot. Okay, like she's the first female author I read in India who I was like, yaar kitni funny hai. she is too funny. Her books are like really good. Like I really enjoyed Zoya Factor, Battle for Bittora, and
Did you watch the movie Zoya Factor then?
हाँ, वो काफी घटिया थी.
Okay.
वो काफी घटिया थी. Although Dulquer Salman is a very good actor. I really love all his movies. Ustad Hotel is like one of my favorite movies by him. लेकिन adaptation तो काफी घटिया थी.
I like Sonam Kapoor's hair a lot in that movie.
Exactly. That's what I mean. If you're watching a movie and appreciating not the acting of the actor and saying कि क्या बाल थे is like telling a comic they were listening.
I'm so sorry. I don't mean to like heckle, but I didn't mean to heckle, but it wasn't even heckling technically.
Dude, Sonam Kapoor's best film till date for me has been Neerja. Like she was very good. Oh my God, Neerja, she was उस मूवी को देख के मुझे लगा कि सही बात है.
I get very distracted by like I just love how she looks in what's that name?
Every movie ever.
Yeah, but like I was distracted. Like I haven't seen Milka Bhag, but I'm distracted by the way she looks in all the songs, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah, good for you. She's only in one scene.
Okay.
Okay. सोनम कपूर को बुलाना है अगर तो ये पार्ट एडिट कर देना तो.
No, but yeah. But this is nice.
Yeah.
I like her hair a lot. But
yeah, Vani, you know that.
Okay, what's your skincare routine? Like, tell me about that.
From hair, speaking of hair, let's talk about skincare routines.
Whose skincare routine would you like to know? And like, I don't know, make a stand-up script about, like, I don't know.
So I wouldn't make a stand-up routine about skincare routine because I'm very attached. Like, I'm genuinely interested.
Did I just give you an idea?
Huh?
Did I just give you an idea?
No. Skincare routine. जो audience आ रही है ना stand-up देखने.
I would have been so happy had you said yes.
I mean, I'll try. Chalo, if I try, I'll give you credits, you know.
Thanks.
I'll tag CCT.
Okay.
Dude, I want to know Rekha's skincare routine.
Yeah. I also want to know how she takes care of all the sarees she owns.
And that also. Oh my God. Yeah. यहाँ तुम
Now
अगर
लहंगा
ना अगर तुम एक महीने के लिए लहंगा ना खोलो तो उसके ऊपर weird सी कुछ तो जम जाता है. I don't know how she manages the sarees. That's a great question. We should ask her. We should like message a manager.
Awesome.
But I would like to know Anushka Sharma's skincare routine.
Nice.
I would like to know your skincare routine. You have a brilliant skin. But I don't do anything. In the sense like, you know, I would always watch these influencers, okay? Influencers, actors, like Pink Villa, you know Pink Villa, right? Pink Villa pe what I eat in a day, my skincare routine. ऐसे videos बहुत आते हैं. तो Malaika Arora का मैंने देखा था. And all these, you know, I used to always like joke about it and be like, मुझे उतना successful होना है कि मैं अपने Instagram पे जाके लोगों को बोल सकूं, stay hydrated, you guys.
Even hydration actually helps.
It does.
I haven't been drinking water properly, and like I have like a pimple here, and I don't break out easily.
Water is like staying hydrated is so underrated. It's so underrated, but it's so important to measure.
And also, if you drink a lot of water, you'll have to take bathroom breaks a lot more often, and you can like, I don't know, lead the conversations.
Yes. Yeah, the more water you drink, the more bathroom breaks you're going to take.
The more steps you take in a day.
Yes, it is very legit. It is very legit. But fruits khao. I think it's not about like very early in life, honestly, I realized that your skincare routine is not what you do on the outside, is what you intake. is what you take inside is going to show outside. And I have a really dirty joke that's come in my mind right now, but I'm not going to say because I don't know who else is going to listen to this. But
I will happily.
No, it's just do you take a lot of dicks, Sonali? Sorry, that just bombed. See, this is what a bomb sounds like. It's a lot of like what you consume. So I think my skincare routine changed drastically 6 months before I got married. So, when you get married, 6 months before you get married, like a bride's routine is like you get like this whole nutrition diet and you become very like healthy.
Did you also start exercising and hit the gym? I know my cousins did so. At least one of them tried to do so. The other one just like, I don't know, she went to the gym for a day and she was like, oh, it's either marriage or gym. And then she just stopped. And I was
like, either marriage or gym. Oh, wow. She really gave an ultimatum.
That's the way to live, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, I did definitely start exercising. I started doing yoga 1 hour, 15 minutes.
You still do it?
Yeah, I still do yoga. I still do it. But I've also always been like into fitness at different levels. Like I used to do gymnastics when I was 5, and then I stopped doing it when I was like 13, 14. And then I used to dance. And I mean, people think dancing is just like dancing, but it's very strenuous. Like it's quite hard to be a dancer, because dancing is only like I would go to this thing called Dance Works. Do you know Dance Works? It's run by Ashley Lobo.
Yeah.
If it's a 1 hour 15 minutes class, choreography dancing तुम्हारे बस last 15 minutes होगी, लेकिन तुम्हारे first 1 hour you're learning the technique and you're learning how to get into it, so that's quite hard. And then after that I switched to yoga, because yoga is very like peaceful, and it's that 1 hour 15 minutes where I would disconnect.
Has yoga like changed your life? Because a lot of people recommend yoga very highly. Like I've tried to do yoga, but I just can't like the only thing I can do is like, I don't know,
sleep.
Shavasana. You know what happened with me once? So I was in the third year of my college and I was visiting my cousin's place. She'd gotten married recently, whatever. Her father-in-law practiced yoga.
Okay.
He took me out to the camp they were doing.
Yeah.
And the sleeping wala asan came in where you just have to lie down and everything.
Lie down.
And I slept. And everyone else has moved on to the third exercise out, and I'm sleeping.
But Shavasana is the last pose you do.
No. They woke up and they were doing something else. Like I say, I don't know.
Not yoga. I think they joined a dance class after that. I mean, one second. My husband is coming. Hold on. I'm just going to like turn off, because that's the main door. I'm just going to turn off the camera.
Yeah. Hi guys, what's up? Do like the stream if you're watching it, because that's just how the YouTube algorithm works. And I know I haven't been recommending a lot of things. Like I haven't been saying this a lot today, but please like the stream if you're watching it. Because the more you like it, the more it'll get recommended and more people will join us, and that will help us. But yeah. And also, if you have any questions for Sonali, comment them in the chat box below. We'll be taking them towards the end, or maybe as we get a chance.
Yes.
Cool.
So, I mean, I don't know if like yoga has changed my life. लोगों को हमेशा लगता है कि योगा करने वाले ना मन के बड़े शांत होते हैं, बड़े calm, collected होते हैं. But it's the opposite of that, dude. Like
there's no point trying yoga anymore. Okay, cool.
I mean, you should see us. Like अभी तो मतलब लोग indoors कर रहे हैं yoga, but like the rush to the anxiety to reach yoga class on time, like because अगर तुम 2 minutes भी late होते हो तो yoga teachers बंद कर देते हैं, dude. My yoga, like they just lock the studio. You can't come, and I am not a punctual person at all. So I get a lot of anxiety. Like the 10 minutes before reaching yoga class is like I'm all over the place. But एक बार तुम yoga class में बैठ जाओ, you're just like I'm zen mode.
This is nice. I'm rethinking about, like, I've been trying to start doing yoga for the past 1 year now.
It's great. I truly love it because I also like it because I don't like gyms. I can't do gyms. I don't like it. If I go to a gym, and I've tried it, if I go to a gym, I need a gym which is really airy in the sense like there's a lot of sunlight, a lot of long windows. I need that. I need sunlight. If a lot of gyms are like dabbe mein, 4 treadmill, 2 cycle
AC is working, there's so much sweat all over the place.
Exactly. It's a very depressing
So we go to
environment.
the wrong gym, or like gymming is just not for it?
It's not for me at all. I did it for like 3 months, and my trainer would like make me like lift like deadlifts and all. I'm like, I don't enjoy this. This is not for
I
me.
cannot, like I don't, maybe it's just I'm lazy, but I do not like weightlifting.
Running is good. I like running.
I like cardio as well.
Yeah, running is great.
You want to disappear? What? I don't know if they ask you the same thing. Like,
oh yeah, they do. Fat shaming is wrong, but thin shaming is so in.
have you like? I don't know. I just got excited. Like, do you have a routine on that as well?
On thin shaming, I'm developing it for sure.
Nice. I really am looking forward to it, because that's like an everyday struggle where people are like, hey, do you want to get like, I don't know, after some time, maybe this is like legit. Like a few days ago, a woman told me like, hey, I just think maybe after a week we'll have to see where Vani is, and then we'll just see a phone and we'll recognize, oh, she must be here somewhere.
That's just horrible, dude. I don't understand. मतलब ये ना अपने woke ज़माने में fat shaming तो गलत है ही और नहीं ही बोलना चाहिए, लेकिन ये thin shaming की आवाज कब निकलेगी, मुझे ये जानना है. हम कब बोलेंगे कि हमको भी status चाहिए? You can't just tell us on our faces that
drink more milk, have more curd, have more
you'll disappear. What the fuck?
हवा आएगी तुम उड़ जाओगे.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I struggle sometimes when the wind blows really hard, but that's just because like I don't know.
The wind.
It's the wind.
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
The struggle is, well, it's kind of nice when you, I don't know if sometimes I like shopping in the kids section. It's cheap.
Oh, I've never done that.
And sometimes there is just more variety.
In the kids section. Funny. What are you doing in Chandigarh?
Sometimes the basics are way better. Like girl, like like I don't know. Sometimes they just put sparkles everywhere.
Yes.
On your things, but like for girls, like who are like maybe 10 to 12 years of age, like not that young, but like 13 to like teenagers.
Yeah.
They have like basics, and they also have pockets.
Yeah.
The dresses also have pockets.
Dresses also. Dude, dresses with pockets is like really underrated, like there should be more. But the thing is, I'll tell you why women, like I see a lot of like loose clothes have pockets, but women's clothing is also designed in women's clothing for women is designed in such a way that they like it to be like body hugging. If it's body hugging, then your pockets make it bulky, and then women will only not buy those. What I find the weirdest is pants, and this was really in trend. Those black pants with those 4 zippers, like 2 zippers here and 2, and then there was no pocket. It was a fake zipper.
I hated it.
I hated that, dude. I was like, I opened it once and I was like, there's nothing here. Like I can't even like put like a bus ticket over here. So yeah.
It happened with me once. I struggle with going out and shopping for myself. I really need my mother, even at this age, to like help me shop, because like I don't know, decision fatigue, and like who will like, I don't know, I only come back with black and white clothing or something. And I ordered something online, and my mother approved, and I was like, great. It came in, it had pockets, but like you just can't, like it was like just the embroidery was there, like there was no pocket.
There was no pocket.
But the fitting of the denim was so nice, and I was like, what do I do with this now? What do I do with it? But
dude, I also shopped with my mom for the longest time. Like I would see normal, all these. No? It's normal. I mean, I thought I was the only one who trusted my mom's judgment, but it's so nice to hear that somebody else also shopped for the longest time with their mom. Because I could never shop with my friends. You know, it's like अगर 4 लोग मुझे अलग अलग ओपिनियन देंगे कि ये अच्छा है, maybe, I guess, where will you wear it, do you have something similar, I'm like नहीं चाहिए मुझे, इतना टेंशन नहीं चाहिए, मेरी मॉम ही आएगी साथ में, and that's great.
Yeah, that happens. The problem right now with me is like I live in Punjab and everyone dresses up here. Everyone,
Where?
even when I'm dressed up, it looks like I'm dressed down. And like I usually like what I wear is like blue denims and like black t-shirt. Not the usual thing, but like it's very, I don't know, basic. And then it's crazy because
dude, every time I go to Delhi or every time I go to Punjab, every time I go to Chandigarh or Delhi, Chandigarh less, but in Delhi though, I forever feel underdressed. Forever. Even if I am dressed and I have made a conscious effort to dress, I go out to a mall, I go to Select City Walk and I'm like, मैं क्या पहन के आई हूँ? ये कौन सी पार्टी चल रही है यहाँ जिसका इनविटेशन मुझे नहीं मिला था?
Nice.
But they are all on point. अगर तुम खान मार्केट जाओगे, they're all on point. Dude.
Their hair is always on point.
Always. How? I don't get it.
I kind of had the admiration for people who put in efforts to dress up because मुझसे नहीं होता है. If I could, I feel so good. I feel so validated because everyone has started loving pajamas. I'm like, great. That's how I want to live life. In pajamas, in Crocs, in a t-shirt that's 4 years old, walking around everywhere.
Quad sets.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what else? Like, is there a book recommendation that we missed out on that you would like to recommend?
What got you into reading?
It's a very sad story. My father had a transferable job. I had no friends and my mother bought me books.
Hey, books are best friends, is what they tell lonely children.
Yeah, nicer parents get them dogs, but it's okay.
But then your dad had a transferable job. Like, no, they didn't want to trouble the dog.
Yeah, they just got me books because I was low maintenance and I settled for it.
That's nice, yeah.
But yeah, that's how I started reading.
What was the first book you read?
I think I started with it started with like those Panchtantra ki kahaniyan, and then there was Nandan and Champak and all these magazines, and then like slowly into like Enid Blyton, and I also read Sleeping Beauty.
Like Noddy, you mean, with Enid Blyton?
I read her adventure series.
Right, okay. Enid Blyton only wrote na Noddy, or did I get it wrong? I think she only wrote it. I mean, he, kya hai?
I'll have to check, dude. I had no idea about this.
I think because I remember I read Noddy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I remember I read Noddy was like the first एकदम पतली book थी Noddy की मैंने जो पढ़ी थी, and I was like good, nice. I mean, it's a cartoon and a book about cartoon, but I started reading properly in the 6th, when I was in the 6th standard, and there used to be this series called Sweet Valley. It's a full fluff.
Yeah.
It's not cinematic. It's not like literature or anything. It's just 2 twins and they're living in America and their high school and their middle school life. And I was very... Sorry?
Are there bullies?
Not at all. They're just like really popular girls in school, and they're twins. And there was like a series of these books, you know, like Nancy Drew ki kaise, matlab, it's a franchise and they just like build on it. So I started with Sweet Valley and it was great. It was just like lives about these 2 girls, and Babysitter's Club, which was like, again, like very teenage 5 girls who...
I'm so like, I want to read all these books. Yeah.
Now you can't read them. But Babysitter's Club has a show on Netflix. Which, oh my God, like it just transported. It was like a time machine, that show. So it was great. And then after that, when I became a little mature reader, it was like Nancy Drew. So like these books, these were my gateway books. These are gateway books. Like how Chetan Bhagat is like a gateway author.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really hard job. Like I think people troll him for like not being like the other authors they read. But I think it's way harder to convert a non-reader into a reader.
Yeah.
and then get evolved as a reader. So I think Chetan Bhagat made like other authors' jobs way easy.
True. I think I don't know, like I've been reading Harry Potter recently, and it reminds me of like the summer vacations we used to have in class 5, class 6 so much. And I'm just enjoying it. I don't want to come back to adult books. I want to read children's books. I don't know, for as long as I can.
Yeah,
And
I feel like Harry Potter's. I mean, those who loved it loved it.
yeah, and I'm kind of I've started to see why, because I never appreciated Harry Potter. I did not hate it, but I just hated the people who spoke about it. Vaibhav loves Harry Potter. I hope he doesn't watch this part. But I was just like, why are you talking about Harry Potter? But the more I read it, I realize, okay, okay, this is nice. I can see the hopes and aspirations you had when you were reading this.
Yeah. I
But
think they also grew up with it, you know.
true.
Like, I
The
remember the first Harry
coming out.
Potter book came out when I was like 11, I
Nice.
think. 11 or, yeah, I think when I was 10 or 11. And by the time the last book came out, this whole generation has grown up with the books. So they were like hardcore into it. So I felt like I was cutting the line in the middle, you know, just
Yeah.
jumping in on the. So I never hated it or anything. It's like how Game of Thrones people who don't watch Game of Thrones don't get
Yeah.
why everybody's addicted to it, or what's the
Right.
big deal until you really
Someone has
start watching it.
commented, HP is not, Anuj has commented, HP is not a children's book. I'm sorry. It's an, yeah,
But
it's
you read it when you were a child, so it is.
yeah.
It's young adult.
Children's
Okay,
book for adults.
let's give it a more woke term. Young adult fiction.
Yes, young adult fiction. It's also like very problematic. There are so many genres everywhere. Young adult, and then you have another adult. There is, I don't know, it's just magical realism, and then you have, I don't know, modern. There are just like so many terms. I just have
Yeah.
forgotten how to like classify them anymore. But yeah,
What genre is like books like Kite Runner and all? What genre? Drama?
it's
I don't know.
fiction, drama.
Fiction drama.
Yes, it's fiction drama. There's also another one which, so we do this thing called a book a month. If you're interested in reading, you should join.
Yeah, of course. I've seen your streams. I saw the stream where you streamed Kafka on the Shore.
Yeah, you
And
did what? That's a nice.
yeah,
See, this is what I was talking about.
I've read Kafka on the Shore, half of it.
Yeah.
I remember I downloaded on my Kindle, and that I've read half. Okay, I've not read the full thing, and it was a while back. And I don't like reading books on the Kindle, but I was traveling, and it's a really fat book, you know.
Right.
I remember reading that book and thinking, "ये काफी what the fuck है."
It was.
ये कुछ भी हो रहा है यहाँ पे. But I don't remember which other book of Murakami I'd read, but I remember the story where he was a jazz club owner, and was it the same book?
No,
that was a different book where he was a jazz club owner, and some girl he liked visited him in the jazz club. I remember it was some book I'd read.
Okay.
And I got really interested in his novels because I was like, "ठीक है, I love traveling, right? So I loved reading about Japan.
Oh God.
Through like I really picturized and visualized Japan in his words.
I started following so many pages that were related to Japan after.
Right? Yeah, that happens. After like Khalid Hosseini books I read, like I thought I knew like Iran at the back of my hand. I think it was Iran only, right? Iran or Afghanistan, one of them. Afghanistan, correct. So my geography is a little off for somebody who likes traveling.
We picked up this book in January. It's called Submarine, and the genre that's specified for it is Bildungsroman. And I was like, what is that? It's like a novel that deals with one person's formative years of spiritual education, but the word is Bildungsroman. Where do you get these words from? Coming of age story. And I just, maybe it's because I'm not a literature student, so I don't know how to classify them, but it's confusing.
Yeah, like I thought there were only two genres, fiction and non-fiction. That's it. Fiction, non-fiction, religious.
Spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual. Right. So fiction, non-fiction, and then if you go to crossword, it's like bestsellers. So I would only pick up everything from the bestseller section.
Nice.
And
I kind of feel guilty every time I pick up a bestseller because I'm like, hey, I'm not giving other books a chance.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I like reading bestsellers. Yeah, like मतलब तुम common ground कैसे ढूंढोगे फिर? And bestsellers are bestsellers for a reason, ना? Like मतलब होंगी सही. Like that's how I picked up Shantaram also, which it took me like a month or 2 months to read that book. After reading that book also, I was like, oh ho. मतलब मैंने तो PhD कर दी बॉम्बे की लाइफ में.
Nice. What kind of books do you usually find yourself picking up?
Only massy and popular books. That's it.
Nice.
जिसको सुन के ऐसे लगे ना कि she's a reader. So Catch 22. क्या मतलब दुनिया के प्रेशर में आके मैंने Catch 22 पढ़ी. Oh God, that book was so difficult for me to get through. I mean,
did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished. I really in between. I forced myself to finish it because मुझे नींद नहीं आएगी अगर मैंने मतलब ऐसे छोड़ दी मैंने बीच में. I will not sleep because I read such few books, So I don't read a lot of books. So I'll give more chances to books than I will give to humans.
that I want that on a t-shirt. This is such a nice line. I think like that the last time it happened with me when I couldn't sleep because of a book was when I read Premchand ki Premashram. And it was so disturbing. But then I also wanted to know what happens later because I was like, hey, what is going on in this book? Because that was the first time I was introduced to like how caste system worked, like my privileged background and everything. And then I pick up this book which talks about the caste system. It talks about, I don't know, sati and everything in like immediate in India that has just gotten its independence. It was like very new to me. And I was so disturbed. I was crying, but then I was also like, it was in class 10 or maybe 11. And I was like, what is this nonsense? But then I also want to know what happens later. And that is when.
I have added a Premchand book to my Amazon cart. And a lot of books are added to my cart. Like I remember Aditya, my husband's name is Aditya. He wanted to buy something. And he opened my cart just to add it. And then the total came to like some 60,000. And he's like, what? It was for 700 rupees, but I wanted to buy. How is it for 60,000? And I'm like, it's just me adding things to cart. That's why it's 60,000. He got such a heart attack.
Oh, nice.
So I have a lot of books that I've added to my cart. And I don't read, like I stopped reading Hindi after my 10th standard because like whatever, school ke liye, but I don't read Hindi literature. But I think I want to start. Like I don't know. I'm looking for a good book to start, which is not very heavy also, and which is like so what's a good book to start if I want to read like Hindi literature in Hindi?
Wow, I don't read a lot of Hindi literature myself, but
have you ever considered like getting to it?
Yeah. I've bought a lot of books. I've actively invested in a lot of books. I've heard a lot about this book called Diwar Mein Ek Khidki Rehti Thi.
Okay.
And I have been trying to pick this up, but unfortunately haven't. I really like, I don't know, time and time again, I go back to this this by Madhushala by Harivansh Rai Bachchan. I don't know why I love that. I love that piece. And that's it.
Is it Harivansh Rai Bachchan was like a poet, right?
Yeah, he was a poet.
Amitabh's dad.
Yeah,
granddad.
Actually, yeah.
Dad.
Dad. Abhishek Bachchan's granddad. Not that you needed to know, but like
Abhishek Bachchan वो अमिताभ का बेटा.
Oh yeah, did you not know?
Aishwarya Rai Bachchan ka husband. Is that how she got the Bachchan surname? What are you saying?
Oh God. But yeah, like that is one, like I don't read a lot of Hindi literature, but like Madhushala is one thing that I keep on going back to only because of one line, which is again, I don't know how people will take it, but it's like Bair karate mandir masjid mail karati Madhushala. And I was like, I don't know, like we were sitting in college once and a friend of mine quoted to me and I was like, hey, is that from Madhushala? And he was like, yeah. And
what does Madhushala mean?
It's Devon.
Oh.
Nice. Oh yes.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a nice he compares his life to a Madhushala. So that's nice.
Beautiful. I wish I was that person who could understand poetry and
I
paintings.
can't as well.
But I don't get either poetry and paintings. I sometimes I go to these, like when I travel, um, and I go to museums, right? And I go to these old museums where like these painters have like painted queens and kings and like their own portraits. And I stand there and I'll tell somebody to click a picture of me admiring the painting. But like, I'm just like, okay, I get it. But then there are people who really get into the depth of, they
Yeah,
understand the art and everything. It's beautiful. I wish I had that.
yeah, it's like the curtains were blue now. I don't know. I always get torn in that. Do I want to be that person who reads into the blue, or should I just like stay on the surface? And I'm like, staying on the surface is staying on the surface is less of a headache. So I'll just stay here. I don't know. I just try to make my life easier that way. But yeah,
Although I did see this painter Van Gogh, who is super popular, and he has like a whole
yeah.
he has a whole museum dedicated to himself in Amsterdam. And I didn't know much about Van Gogh, but I watched a movie about Van Gogh, and which was really good. And then I went to the museum, and he definitely had the most distinct style of painting. Like, मतलब अगर वो इतना बड़ा बना है तो मतलब तुम पेंटिंग्स देख के पता लग जाता है कि हाँ भाई इसकी स्टाइल तो थी काफी अलग.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah.
There's a book that's written about him. It's kind of like the person has tried to write his biography, not biography, but like it's kind of like a fictionalized biography, if I may say so. It's called Lust for Life, and it's by Irving Stone. You should definitely check it out.
It's about Van Gogh.
Yeah, it's about the life of Van Gogh. And I know it's not Gogh, it's Gogh, but like
it's like from the epiglottis.
I don't know.
Van Gogh.
But yeah, like this is a fictionalized biography of sorts, and it's absolutely amazing. It's really nice. You should definitely, this is one recommendation.
What's a fictionalized biography? Like he's not got the rights to write about him, so he's like written.
No. It's about his life, but he's also imagined a lot of things.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So everyone knows how his life actually turned out to be, but like he's kind of fictionalized it as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What's the book called?
Lust for Life.
Cool. I'll make it a point after I finish reading Club You to Death. That's also being made into a movie.
Yeah.
All Anuja Chauhan movies, books get bought, and then they take like 10 years to make it into a movie.
So when was Club You to Death written?
Abhi recently. Dude, she's too funny, dude. Like, I mean, for a lack of a better word, she's a chick lit writer. Okay. Like, you know how there are chick flicks, there's chick lit. And I love reading chick lit books.
Do you ever feel guilty about chick lit?
Not at all.
Okay, cool.
Because it puts me in a good mood. It puts me in a great mood, and it is relatable.
Do you have any guilty pleasures? Like anything that you're
I am never guilty about my pleasures. Okay. I never feel guilty at all. In fact, I love watching, like, अभी तो मैंने last show देखा मैंने Netflix पे, Sex Life. What a show, dude!
What is it about? Like
Sex Life, as the title suggests it.
Okay. I was confused for a second. Is it like sex education or like?
No, sex education वो अलग है.
Okay.
Sex Life is basically about this girl who is married for 8 years, has 2 beautiful kids, living in the suburbs, living the suburban life. Husband is an investment banker, and she is suddenly reminiscing about her relationship of her toxic ex. Just साथ sex फाड़ू था. Okay. So she's like writing about her ex in her journal, which is in the laptop, and her husband reads it. He's like, oh shit, you happy nahi hai kya mere saath? Ye aisa, matlab, these are the things she was doing, and his wife is like graphic about all the sex she had, and then while writing there are like throwbacks. It's literally 50 Shades of Grey on acid. That's what it is, that show. But so I watched like 10 minutes of it with my husband, and then he's like, I think you might enjoy this on your own. And he just walked away. So all my friends who are watching it are just like, enjoying it without their boyfriends and partners and husbands. They're just like, apne aap dekho.
Nice.
So that you're not guilty. It's only pleasure. That's it.
I feel very guilty when I watch. I used to feel very guilty when I used to watch chick flicks. I still do. I feel like I'm wasting my time. But I did, like, did you actually watch what was it? The Indian Housewives.
Yeah, Fabulous
The
Lives of
Bollywood. Yeah,
Bollywood.
yeah.
Beautiful. I love that show.
I watched all of it and I felt so guilty about it. I felt so guilty. I couldn't accept it for the first 1 month, I think, that I watched it. But
And liked it. Admit
I
it.
liked it. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, the thing is, I have come to a point where if I like it, I'm just unabashedly going to say I loved it and I fully enjoyed it. But I also have friends who are like, oh my God, it's so bad. But I just couldn't stop watching it. And I'm like, bitch, you loved it.
Nice.
So, yeah, but I'll tell you my favorite chick flick movie is Mean Girls. Have you watched Mean Girls?
Oh yes, I like it.
It's Tina Fey's writing. By the way, Tina Fey's book, Bossy Pants, is also a great book. I loved it. It was a very well-written book. And she's also married and she also has kids and she's a different comedy woman. She does improv and she writes shows and everything. So that was also great. So Mean Girls was beautiful. And I like the author who writes The Confessions of a Shopaholic, Sophie Kinsella. I think that's the name.
Yes.
All her books, dude. In fact, the love life that chicklet books have, every chicklet book will eventually circle to like her love life and the main character and the turmoils. And I like reading about all that because I find it very relatable. So
I hadn't read the book because I saw the movie first, and then I was like, so what do I know? And then but Confessions of a Shopaholic is one of my favorite books. That actually, like, I saw it when I was like very young. I did not know. That's how I learned about credit cards, and I was like,
really?
Yeah, I think, like, when did Confessions of a Shopaholic come out?
I think it came out like 8 years back. So there's this one scene in it where all the Shopaholics Anonymous is there.
It came out in 2009. I was in class 8.
So yeah, that's like 12 years back, I think. Yeah.
But it feels like almost...
It feels very relevant. But but when you watch the movie, you realize it's an old movie because people are using like flip phones and stuff like that.
I want a flip phone, dude.
I love flip phone, dude. Like, because I have a temper, when you get angry, you can just...
Yeah. I like it. I like how we are, I don't know, bonding over flip phones. Have you seen Notting Hill? The reason why I love Notting Hill is because of the bookshop. That's how I started like appreciating the movie. Then, of course, the rest follows.
Yeah, Notting Hill is also a great movie. So
there are certain people who look down on chick flicks. Do you think that's just like their elitism speaking, or like, I don't know? Do you have any recommendations for them which might change their mind? Mean Girls.
Oh, this is the question I was waiting for. Thank you. I've been waiting for somebody to ask me for chocolate recommendations all my life. Who knew that wish would come true on this stream? Okay. First movie I would recommend is Mean Girls, obviously. Please don't watch Mean Girls 2. Okay. You just stop at the main Mean Girls. Okay.
Yeah.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Nice.
I love that movie. Like, tumhe lagta hai ki Heath Ledger is like Joker, but then you watch that movie. That is my impression. Yeah. Number 3 is Devil Wears Prada.
Oh,
okay. The movie is way better than the book. Okay. I've read the book and the book was a little but the movie is superb. 27 Dresses. Okay, Katherine Heigl, beautiful movie, loved it, very different concept. Notting Hill, yes, because it's an out and out romantic. Julia Roberts is the queen in this genre. Pretty Woman. Have you watched Pretty Woman?
Yes.
I love Pretty Woman, dude. Pretty Woman.
I have a massive crush on Richard Gere and Hugh Grant.
Yeah, Pretty Woman, अगर जिस किसी ने Pretty Woman नहीं देखी है वो चोरी चोरी चुपके चुपके देख ले. It's the same thing. A lot of चोरी चोरी चुपके चुपके, प्रीति जिंटा, रानी मुखर्जी and Salman Khan. It's a mix sort of.
Pretty Woman is better, no?
Yeah, of course. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
In case you don't.
Have you seen Runaway Bride?
Yeah, that was going to be my next one. Oh my God, we're in sync.
Yes. Telepathy worked. See, you got the script right, no? Like,
yes. Runaway Bride is also a great movie. I really like it. Which other? I don't know.
Clueless. What is your opinion of Clueless?
Oh, I love Clueless, dude. I love
Did you
it.
get awkward because they were step siblings and despite that, like, things happened and transpired?
No, Vani, we know people who are married to their cousins. So, I mean, it was hardly surprising for me because so many times, like, I mean, in like, I thought I thought I Rakhi to my cousins. So, because I don't have siblings, like, I don't have any brother or sister.
Yeah.
So, I thought, because I came to know that people used to get like money on Rakhi from their brothers, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to exploit my cousins now.
Yeah.
That's at a time. But yeah, it was a little weird for sure. It was like, first time when I watched it, I was like, oh, okay, that's random. But then
I
you
didn't
watch,
want them to be step siblings, else I would have loved the movie. I still
yeah,
like
like he could
I
have
want
just
to
been,
forget that information.
he could have just been his intern, like the dad's intern.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Clueless is a great movie. You know the movie Aisha, Sonam Kapoor's movie, is like inspired from Clueless, which is made
Also
from a
based
book.
on a movie. Yeah.
It's
Emma.
based on a book, Emma, correct.
I said movie, yeah, sorry.
Clueless is great. How to lose he's just not that into you, sorry.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is also cool.
That's also great, but He's Just Not That Into You is like my go-to movie. Like if I'm having a bad day and like I want to just take my mind off, then Pizza, He's Just Not That Into You,
Nice.
is like my go-to.
Great. Do you also have any like current favorites from Netflix? I don't know, because there are so many rom-coms that are coming out on Netflix, and somebody has commented, what do you think of the new Netflix rom-coms?
Oh yeah, I watch it. They're trash, but I watch it. I watch everything.
It's trash, but I watch it.
Yeah. I'll watch everything. I'll watch everything. Everything, you name it, and I'll watch it. Like if I haven't watched it, then I will be enthused too. I can make trash sound fun. That's my USP.
What's the most recent movie that you saw on Netflix? A rom-com or like anything?
This Indonesian movie called The Perfect Date. I think it was called The Perfect Date or Perfect Life or something like that. It was very misleading. It had an English title, so I played it. And then like dialogues were in Indonesian. And I was like, chalo, I guess I've started it now. This or remote bahut dur tha, so I just continued it.
Wow.
But I watched it. It was great. It was shot in Indonesia. It was very time pass. I really liked it. But yeah, the Netflix genre is it's a factory, dude. तुम Christmas आने दो. Christmas में इतने बकवास फिल्म के बाद फिल्म रिलीज करेंगे, and I will watch everything.
I'm guilty of that as well. And I hate myself because I know I wasted but it just feels like so warm. It's like, that's just how you've been trained. I went to a convent school, so like Christmas used to be like पूरा December, January off होता था because बर्फ पड़ जाती थी, school नहीं जा सकते थे, so cool. You used to get months off.
Wow, what school was this?
I grew up in Kulu. Like I went to school in Kulu Manali wala Kulu. And so we used to get like winter vacations and everything. So that used to be the time where you watch movies. And us time it's only like chick flicks, rom-coms. So
yeah.
I love Proposal. I don't know if
Proposal is a great film. It's a damn good film. Yeah. That's also
Sandra Bullock wanted, her character was the one I wanted to be in my life.
Like Miss Congeniality also.
Yeah.
She has a similar type in movies. Like she's always like the strict, no nonsense person. 2 weeks notice also.
Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks notice is a little ridiculous. Like I try to not make sense out of it, and then I'm able to enjoy the movie.
I like Hugh Grant. He's very good. Like I watched his HBO show recently, Undoing. Brilliant.
I'm yet to watch it, but yeah.
Mayor of Easttown, Undoing. Very good.
Really, really like him. I like how he says, like, he'll like bend down a little and like, hey, but like, what about this? And like, I am not able to do that because he's so.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah.
I would have bought life insurance way earlier if he had done an ad about it.
Nice. What's your opinion on like of like Richard? Okay, am I getting his name wrong?
Who?
The Pretty Woman guy.
Richard Gere. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I was not sure if his first name is Richard.
Oh my God, you remember when he came to India and like kissed Shilpa Shetty? That became such a big thing.
He did what?
He got Shilpa Shetty on stage. He came for like a AIDS awareness program. And then he got Shilpa Shetty on stage and just kissed her. And then like it was really awkward. And then Shiv Sena, like this local party in Bombay, got like really upset about it. And they're like Richard Gere, go back. And like stuff like that. Just like these naras, and Shilpa Shetty had to like go on like air and say that Richard spoke to me and everything is fine. But thank God everybody's still now talking about AIDS and it needs awareness and stuff like that.
I don't know that, but yeah. Someone has commented Legally Blonde.
Oh, that's a great one. Bend and Snap. That was that's also a good movie.
What else? Have you seen which is that the Three Spies? Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels. Yeah, I think I've watched it definitely. And I vaguely remember there was I think when I was really young, they copied that concept in India also and made a TV show out of it. I think so.
I know of this.
Yeah, dude, I'm a TV junkie. मैंने हर TV show देख के रखा है.
That's why you're going to win the Chalchitra movie quiz.
No, dude, y'all watch like hardcore good movies. मैंने सब बकवास फिल्में देखी हुई है. तुम बकवास फिल्मों का quiz रखो तो मैं definitely जीतूंगी. That is the real challenge for y'all, okay?
I wish Indol was watching this. He would know like how to make you. But yeah. What about, do you also listen to podcasts?
Yeah, but I only listen to like comedy podcasts.
Like, do you have any favorites?
Yes, I listen to Mark Maron. He has a podcast called What the Fuck, WTF podcast. And then it's great. He interviews comedians. And again, it's kind of like reading their books, you know, like he talks to them about their lives, how they got into stand-up, what are their influences, who do they listen to, where are they currently. Just you get to know a lot about history and stuff, their processes and stuff. So that's one. Then Joe Rogan, of course. And then I listen to Whiskey Ginger. He interviews comedians strictly. And Whitney Cummings' podcast. And yeah, these are the 4 so far that I listen to. Yeah.
Are you listening to music? Okay, you were saying something?
No, sorry. Go ahead.
Are you listening to music or just like, what are like my musical choices? I thought you were saying something.
No, मेरे दांत में कुछ अटका था तो अभी I was using my tongue to remove it. Sorry.
So I'll just say, and then okay, cool. So like, are you listening to music, and like what kind of, like, do you listen to music actively?
No, I only listen to music when I'm in the shower.
Oh, what's your like favorite? Like I love listening to Queen in the shower, like Queen, like the band, not the movie.
Oh, fuck! For a second, I was like, oh my God, yes!
I love that song though from Queen, like London to Magda.
Yeah.
That's my jam. Like, you start it anywhere, I can't stop dancing. Unless like these circumstances.
In the bathroom, I'm always listening to like, honestly, I just pick like a playlist on Apple Music. Okay, so my current favorite playlist on Apple Music is Rebecca Judd. She has all these like English party starters and really peppy music. I like listening only to peppy music. I don't like listening to sad, soulful music at all. It puts me like, I need to be in the mood to appreciate a slow song, you know.
Yeah.
My husband is the complete opposite. He has great taste in music that people will approve, you know, that people will be like, ha, isse aata hai na music sunna. Like he likes listening to rock and
Nice.
he knows a lot, but I only like hacky music. That's it.
Nice. I have a friend who has a very sad caller tune. It's like very lovey-dovey, but it's also sad. I avoid calling her in the morning.
Why does she have a caller tune in
Like caller tune,
2021?
ringtone, like I don't know, like is it like
Yeah, of course. If you're
when you-
calling her,
yeah.
you'll listen to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, she does. I don't know why people have it. Like people do. I have a few friends or contacts who actually have weird caller tunes.
I have one friend who has a caller tune and he keeps it only to irritate people. And the song he has is Mungda. You know that song?
This is nice. This is nice.
It's just that. So at night when you're calling him, you know, and like raat ka environment zara shant hota hai, right? And even if it's like on the phone, but that caller tune it just starts out of nowhere. Mungda. She starts singing. Oh, it's like
As I'm speaking to you, I just realized, like, hey, if you want people not to call you like that often, just put on a caller tune that's not good enough.
who calls anymore, Vani? We have never. This is the first time we've gotten on a call. We have only texted each other once.
People call. You have no idea.
Nobody calls. I think only
Maybe because
ICICI calls me. That's it. Only Vodafone
ICICI
calls
calls
me.
every 1 hour. Does that happen to you?
Not
Or
everyone.
is it just me?
इतने पैसे नहीं है मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में कि उनको मेरी पड़ी हो इतने.
क्रेडिट कार्ड खरीदे क्या मैडम?
काफी स्कैम वाले फोन करते हैं लेकिन yeah, nobody like I think I get on Zoom calls now way more. Google Talk, Google Meets
Google
than
Meet.
like yeah. मैं voice note भेजती हूँ ज़्यादा.
I love voice notes. I like
Yeah.
receiving them. I like sending them. I'm not so sure about receiving them.
Do you now listen to them on like 2x speed? I'm very embarrassed how I will sound on 2x speed. तो मैं Instagram पे भेज देती हूँ क्योंकि Instagram पे वो फीचर नहीं है. तो सुनो सालो मेरी आवाज.
Instagram पे like you can only do it for 1 minute. No, that's the trouble.
हाँ मैं तो भेज देती हूँ multiple. I don't want you to listen to my voice on 2x speed and make fun of my voice. No fucking way.
Oh God, I feel bad all of a sudden because what if someone listens to my voice note at 2x?
They're doing it. They're for sure doing it. I did it.
Oh God, how bad is it?
No, it was fine only. Then I made it to normal because मुझे instructions सुनाई नहीं दे रहे. I need to listen to it properly.
Oh God. God. It's not as bad as it sounds, right? It's just
It's not. I mean, anybody's voice will sound funny at 2x.
Oh, Vaibhav has a friend. He was telling me about this a podcast that his friend does. Two people talking about the most craziest things in the world, like sincere things like universe, existentialism, philosophy at 2x speed. So it's just like, but like all the major stuff, like, hey, you know what? This great philosopher, you know what
This is the whole podcast.
Yeah, this is the whole podcast. I don't know what the name of the
Nice.
podcast is, but like two people talking about some major thing, but at 2x speed. So it's just like chipmunks.
Then how do you listen to it? You slow it down or you listen to it at 2x?
You
only?
listen to it at 2x only because they're very like normally I'm speaking like this, right? But they
Right.
talk like this, which is automatically very slow. So when they speak, it
makes sense. All right.
yeah.
What kind of podcast do you listen to? Excepting your own.
I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts at one point, but I don't listen to a lot of podcasts anymore. There's one by Kaveh Zahedi. It's called 365 Stories I Want to Tell You Before We Both Die. And there's a podcast out every day, and it's very short, like 2 to 5 minute long, at max 5 minute long. And it tells you an interesting story in every podcast. Most of the times it's very interesting. And this one podcast that I recommend to everyone is, and I get very embarrassed because I do this a lot, like talking about the same thing over and over again. And this is one of those things which I like unabashedly like publicize everywhere. It was a podcast by BBC and it was called Boring Talks. And there was this one particular episode that made me cry because it was on pencils. I love collecting pencils, and there's this guy who comes in and he says, I love pencils, and these are the pencils I have, blah blah blah. And
Oh,
he talks about a lot of pencils that he owns,
right.
and the emotional connection he has to the pencils. And I was like, hey, validation.
Wow, that's a unique. I've never heard of this. It's like
And
the first time.
Boring Talks has a lot of topics. Like there is an episode dedicated to jigsaw puzzles. There's one dedicated to the sound that games make when you start them, like computer games make when you start them. There is another one that's dedicated to I don't think sharpness, but like I think tires or something. And there's one that's dedicated to burping. It's like weird.
Burping? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I think so. There should be one. If it's not, then I'm getting the podcast wrong. But Boring Talks does have topics dedicated, like jigsaw puzzles, games, etc., etc. It's nice. I think everyone should do a podcast on something they really, really are passionate about, something as small as pencils. You just gave me the validation, like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's really cool. But then, like, how long was the podcast where he just
It went on for like 1 hour. I'll just check. It's for like Boring Talks.
I'm so scared to like even consider doing a podcast, because like मेरे मुंह से कुछ भी निकल जाता है. So I'm so scared of like somebody taking something out of context 10 years down the line.
God,
Then, like
that's
putting it.
scary.
It is so scary. That is why I love stand up, and I'm not online. So I mean, I don't put that much stuff online. So I have the liberty. I only stick to like live shows. तो लाइव शोज में इतना लोड नहीं होता है क्योंकि जो लाइव शो देखने आते हैं मतलब दे आर बाइंग अ टिकट दे आर कमिंग टू द शो सो दे आर कमिंग विद अ वेरी डिफरेंट माइंडसेट versus somebody who's like watching you online.
True.
So
Yeah, you're right.
Like it's so scary. Like मेरे मुंह से कुछ भी निकल गया, which might be okay in this political environment, but you can't predict what the political environment is going to be like 15 years down the line. So it might not hold up. What you will say?
Or just might be next week.
Correct. Exactly. And you don't know how it's going to be perceived, then how you may or may not get the benefit of the doubt.
You can't even judge like how people are going to take in the information you give. Like there are so many people who are watching us right now, not right now maybe, but like might watch us in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And everyone is going to perceive you in such a different way. And it's very tricky because you have to constantly. I'm actually genuinely struggling with, do I let myself be who I am, or do I just like, do I keep a check on myself constantly?
Yeah, I mean, you have a constant social editor going on.
Right.
And you are not going to be yourself for sure. Like, I mean, you will be yourself, but there will always be like that 10% you're holding back.
Especially when you talk about things like, I still don't know exactly what it was that I wanted to ask you, but it was a topic that's very touchy, feminism. And I'll just keep on thinking about it like, hey,
did I question?
It's going to affect me like when people watch it like 5 years from now? And they'll just take very smartly that part which like shows you as someone who's just like, despite being a woman, she's talking about women like that. And that's it's just it's scary.
Yeah, for sure. It is.
It's terrifying because you never have those intentions. Nobody's going to come to this part and then, hey, they had such a nice conversation about it at the podcast.
Like, I'm not against being called out, for sure. If you don't like something somebody said 10 years back, call them out, for sure. But, I'm really against the fact that it affects, for instance, Kevin Hart, right? He's a comedian who had tweeted some really terrible things, what he thought were jokes. And then he got pulled out for it, maybe now, recently. And he got cancelled. Cancelled is the word.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to host the Oscars or the Emmys. वैसा कुछ high fundu event था, जो cancel हो गया because of those tweets. So, is that correct? I don't know. Like I always have, if I would have been in Kevin Hart's place, I would have been like, this is not fair. I tweeted it like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. Why are you basing who I am today based on what I tweeted?
It's like every time I unlearn something, I have to go and check all my 10,000 tweets again to see if there is
For
something I
sure.
don't engage or agree with. It's like every time I wake up and I feel different, I'll just have to go back and check, like, hey, I don't feel like this is true today. And how do you do that self-monitoring? That's just very scary. That's
Yeah.
very terrifying because you don't know exactly what will come back to you.
Yeah. And as an artist, somebody who does stand up, it's eh, I mean, how you are constantly like, again, I stick to live shows, so I have a lot more liberty, you know. But what you, but again, you think a lot before now crafting any joke, you know. You'll think कि मैं ऐसे बोल सकती हूँ, लिख before before you even write your first sentence, you have thought 10 times कि नहीं, मैं ये नहीं बोल सकती, मैं ऐसे नहीं बोल सकती, मैं ये नहीं कर सकती, you know. So it's really limiting.
Right.
And even after you put out content, every waking day is like you are anxiety driven. Every morning you wake up, and again, I am not online, so I don't have that much insight into this, but I have also gone through a certain amount. But every morning you wake up and you're like, आज मुझे कौन कॉल आउट करेगा, आज मेरे कौन से ट्वीट से प्रॉब्लम होगी, आज क्या होगा. Every morning, the more content you put online, the more you're going to have these anxiety ki fuck, मेरे 10 मिनट
I
के
have just been posting like things about Harry Potter lately, like not even things. I just posted 2 stories when I started book 1 and I started
Yeah.
book 2. When I started book 2, there were like people in my DMs who were like, why are you promoting her? She's like a homo, like she's,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to appreciate something that's given so many children so much hope. Like there's a piece of art that exists that has changed the way people think about, like it has helped people, like I don't know, deal with life. It has given so many people hope. It's basically been a gateway for reading for so many people. And all you see now is that hey, she's a transphobic. All you see about Enid Blyton now is that she was racist. You
Yeah.
don't like you're trying to cancel somebody who doesn't give a fuck because they're dead. 60 years from like people trying to ban Roald Dahl or like Enid Blyton is like the funniest thing
People
ever.
are banning Roald Dahl also.
Yeah, they say he's racist.
Oh, he's also cancelled. Oh, acha. Okay.
I'm just like,
उसको भी कर दिया है.
like where, why?
It's
Yeah,
like
I read Peter Pan. I did not like it. I couldn't stand the sexism it had. I shut the book and I kept calm.
yeah.
You can't do anything about it. Okay, you have a problem, call it out. Great. But
Yeah.
like, why are you? I don't know. I don't want to say much about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem, honestly, with being called out. It's fine. I mean, if you don't call out people, then I guess they won't learn. But I just have a problem with, like, I mean, like, how do you differentiate? How do you know who has learned, who has not learned? How can you have a one blanket treatment? Some people may have learned, but you also have to give people the room to like better. So yeah, that's what I keep. And I mean, again, as I said, I don't put out that much content online, but now that I am planning to in the future, these are the thoughts that, and I didn't want to cloud myself with these thoughts, but now
Yeah, I think it's a very gray
environment.
area. Yeah, it's a very gray area where you can like there are people who say like if you don't cancel them, how do we punish them? Why do you have to punish them? There are other things that will happen. That person said this thing, so maybe he's not going to be invited for the next 10 years to a particular venue.
Yeah.
And it's just people are trying to take the responsibility of teaching the other person a lesson. Maybe that person has already learned it. Maybe it's just so many things happen like from today right now to like maybe next week this time I would be a completely different person because something would happen in my life. But it's again a very gray area. Like,
yeah,
how do you decide?
yeah, man, it's just gonna know things. I'll know once I release something and then get cancelled for it. Then I'll give you my 2.0 version point of view of it.
But I also think like we've become very we have started self-censoring ourselves.
Yeah.
So like I don't think it's bound to happen unless they come calling us for like I don't know for praising chick flicks or something.
Calling it chick
Cancel
flick.
them. They're like clueless. I don't know.
Calling it. How dare you call it a chick flick? That's why I said before, only for a lack of a better word.
That's the lack of a better word. It's like, I don't know. There's this really nice podcast that we did with Shah Rukh Khan, and he just started self-censoring himself. And I was like, hey, this is what everyone does.
Yeah, Shah Rukh is too good, man. Shah Rukh is. I love his podcasts. He's so witty.
Shah Rukh Khan has a podcast.
I mean, I just love him on podcasts. He doesn't have his.
I was like, how come I don't know what?
You know what? That should be his plan, though. That should. I mean, फिल्में तो उसके उनकी अच्छी बन नहीं रही है, तो podcast ही कर लेना चाहिए उनको.
Yeah. You're right. I would actually listen to this.
For sure.
For sure. I actually like Coffee with Karan as well, now that we're talking about
it.
My
God, it's my favorite. In fact, Aditya's like, my husband is like, oh, I've been watching a lot more Coffee with Karan in the last 2 years than I have ever in my life.
That's nice.
Yeah. Good. There's this there's this gentleman called Nilesh Mishra. Yeah. I'm sure you've heard of him. Yeah. He does this thing called the slow interview. Yeah. I truly enjoy that. I truly I watch a lot of these like comedy podcasts, listen to them and watch them because now they're all video also. And film whenever Rajiv Masand has roundtable, Anupama Chopra calls all these producers and all. I love listening to their insights.
There's so much validation in this podcast now that I'm going to sleep happy tonight.
What? मैंने तो एक भी comment नहीं पढ़ा, लेकिन मैं देखती हूँ तुम्हारी आंखें आगे वहां जा रहे हैं. So I was like, बाद में देखूंगी.
There's one by SG Akshay Kumar. Like I was going to say validation from your end, like hey, chick flicks, Karan Johar and everything.
Yeah.
Like, SG Akshay Kumar said it just came in to show my love for both Vani and Sonali. Hey.
Oh, how sweet.
Nice. But yeah, there was this. He's also said like both Sonali and Vani are criminally underrated. Nice.
Oh.
Should like this team and share it.
My favorite comment is underrated.
Yeah. How do you feel when someone says like, hey Sonali, you're very underrated? Does it make you feel good? It's like, hey, met the queen, where were you living?
No, I honestly am very bad at just accepting compliments, because again, as I told you, mentality is कि अगर तुम अच्छे compliments accept करोगे तो फिर तुम्हें बुरे compliments भी उसी दिल से accept करना होगा. So my compliments, I don't register it only. I don't register a compliment. I just hear it and I'm like, okay, cool, move on. And that's how I am to bad comments also. If somebody said fuck all comedy, okay, cool, move on.
That's nice. I'm going to that's one of my takeaways from this podcast and this session. Do you also have a routine? Like, do you also have a process to recharge yourself? Like,
yeah, travel.
No, like every day, like unwinding routine.
Yoga.
Okay. And yoga is in the morning or like in the evening?
Some days I do it in the morning. So I have a teacher with whom I learn online. Up to matlab khair, I go to this place called Yoga House in Bandra. So when it was shut, I used to do it online. But now that the studio is open, I go there.
I love anxious now, like when you meet people. I got my second dose a few days ago, I think on Tuesday or something. And I was feeling so anxious because there were so many people who I did not know. Some of them were not wearing masks, and I was like, hey, this is weird. But like, do you have that social anxiety now? Like, or is it like
no? I love learning. I only like going to a studio. I learn better when other people are around. Because I know yoga is not supposed to be competitive and shit. I know it, but it is sort of competitive. Yeah. You want to be better than the other person in the class. So I get motivated when I see people doing better than me, because then I don't like being the best in class. Okay, because I'm not learning.
Okay.
I love being second best. I like being second best because then there is somebody doing better than me. And then I'm constantly learning also from them. And matching up. So I like it. I don't like being the person who's setting the standard for other people. I don't want to be that.
I feel so guilty because I like being the best person. The moment I see somebody cinch your clothes, I'll start working harder. Like,
yeah, exactly, right? Like, wouldn't you like if you're running on a treadmill and somebody's running next
I'm
to
always
you,
like, 8, I'll just go to 8.79.
exactly, right? I mean, you may not match, but it will still, you may not match their ability, but you'll still be the best of your ability. You will push yourself. So that's what I like. I find doing yoga in my house very boring.
Yeah.
Because I have a very small living room. So every time I have to do yoga, I have to like deconstruct my living room, you know, I have to like the coffee table and the books and the mats and everything. So I find it really boring. But yeah, so some days I wake up in the morning, some days I do it in the evening, but no later than like 7 o'clock, because then I don't get sleep at night. So yeah, that's how I recharge myself.
Do you also meditate?
No, dude. Like, I've been trying to get into it for a really long time, but it's really boring. It's really boring. मुझे लगता है कि जब मैं 40 साल की हो जाऊंगी ना, तब मैं मेडिटेशन को एक ट्राई दूंगी, and then I'll be like, oh fuck, I can't believe I didn't do this in my 20s and my 30s. I think I'm going to reach that phase.
And like there was this one comment that I missed earlier when you were talking about like solo traveling. Like, what is that one place that you would recommend to everyone to go and travel right now solo?
In India, Ladakh for sure.
Okay.
And not just Leh, but like do a trek in Ladakh, because I feel like the best way to see a place is to like be within the nature. And the best time to experience the place is when you have no network. That's the only way to enjoy it. So I would suggest like a few treks. Markha Valley is definitely Markha Valley is like one of my favorite treks, dude. Like the second stop in that trek is this village called Yurutse. Okay. Yurutse has one house. That whole village has one house. और उस एक घर के सामने एक पेड़ है. And that's the whole village. Like it's a village, and that's the only place that's the only house where there is a homestay. So it's beautiful. Nice? It's amazing. It's amazing. Like,
and how big is the village? Is it like just like a normal house in a courtyard?
जहाँ तक तुम्हारी नजर.
So it's like quite a decent like area wise, the village.
Yeah. It's a big. But it's just that one village और उनके खेत है. And bus. Oh, and another place in Ladakh for sure you should go to is Turtuk Valley.
Yeah.
It's like you go to Nubra Valley, and then like what people do is they drive down to Nubra, Diskit, yeah, and then from there you have to take a 9-hour bus to go to Turtuk.
Okay.
You can take a cab, but all your cab. I mean, I went like 6-7 years back, and none of the cabbies like wanted to go. They were just like, nahi, wahan pe allowed nahi hai, road band hai. I don't know why they gave me these excuses. So I took like the local bus, there was to be like one bus that used to go every Sunday. So I planned my travel in a way that I could take the local bus and go. And Turtuk was a village that was a part of like Pakistan and Baltistan. And during the 71 war, like India captured some villages of Pakistan. And so then it became part of India, basically after the 71 war. So it was a part of Pakistan before that. So all of Ladakh is like Buddhist, right? And then Turtuk, they speak Balti, which is like the language of Baltistan. And it's the facial features are very different. So and so it was beautiful. Like मेरे घर जहाँ मेरा homestay था, in the opposite, the window के सामने का mountain range was Pakistan. So it was amazing. Like I didn't do anything in that village, and that was the village where I finished Catch 22. I remember.
Nice.
So and there are like kids over there, and all the kids. And you know how a lot of photographers, and I'm guilty myself of doing this, although now I don't do it anymore, we do this thing called street photography, where we just click pictures of people, and we don't take their permission, right? And which is wrong. Now I know. Now if I want to take somebody's picture, I tell them like, hey, can I click a picture of you? And then I try to find a candid moment of them, and then I click a picture of them. But like when I was clicking pictures of the kids, the like they were 5, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids just saying like no photo, no photo, no photo. उनको कुछ नहीं आता, लेकिन ये दो शब्द आते हैं English में like no photo. So I asked one of my homestay people like, why are all kids saying no photo? And they're like, because white people and just people come over here and click our pictures and then sell it for like big bucks without our permission, and that's not cool. And I'm like, you're so right. This is so true. Like you can't just do it. So yeah, that's that.
Nice. Are you planning to go back anytime soon? Are you also like, I have quite a few questions. Have you ever considered becoming a travel vlogger or blogger, travel influencer?
Yeah, I get asked this question so many times. Like, why don't you vlog? But funny chala jata hai yaar pura travel ka.
Blogging?
Blogging,
Can I recommend you a book?
Yeah, sure.
Not related to travel, but it's about hills.
Yeah.
It's again another, like, it's by Ruskin Bond, and it's called A Book of Simple Living.
Oh,
Very easy to read. And I think you can't rush through this book. Like if you want to, you can finish this book in a day. But it's like, it's meant like, like you can't just finish tea in like one go. You have to like relish each sip. And you have to relish each page of this. Like ज़्यादा 5-6 lines होंगी हर page पे. At max, the page would be completely filled like once in a while. Yeah. Like each page is supposed to be relished, and it just asks you to calm down.
Ruskin Bond is a good author. He's an easy author to read. I like that.
Yeah. And I really, really like this one. A Book of Simple Living. It just makes me want to travel or go back to the hills every time I read it. Yeah.
Ruskin Bond, when I wanted to get out of my reading slump, I started reading Ruskin short stories by Ruskin Bond. And he has I love his writing. It's so like simple and nice.
And it's always about small towns. And
yes.
For some reason, he just adds this charm to the villages or the towns, especially of the hills.
Yeah.
Just nice.
Yeah. Are you into traveling, Vani?
I try. I say I like it where like once you start the journey, I'm into it.
Yeah.
Like, starting the journey is the real deal. Like I just need, so I'm from Mandi, like it's in Himachal.
Yeah.
I need to go.
Ganga Ranaut is also from there only.
Yes.
Yeah,
that.
If I ever meet Kangna, I'm going to be like, hey, Vani's from there.
Yeah. Hey, that's nice. That'll be nice. You should ask her to come to Chalchitra Talks.
Yeah, definitely.
Why have you still not come on Chalchitra Talks? Aren't you from Mandi or what?
Yeah.
But no, like, I need to go home, and the only trouble is like, had Doraemon's Anywhere Door actually existed, I would love traveling. I see like the whole thing is like the journey is very important. But like I just get tired, and then I know I need an extra day to recharge, so I get very lazy. But I really like traveling.
Yeah. Like so many times I'll come from a holiday and I need another holiday. Like I need a vacation from a vacation to recharge.
Yes. And nobody gets it. Like not many people get it. Like, you get it. I'm not going to say nobody.
Yeah. Because when you're traveling, at least for me, when I'm traveling. I'm not on a vacation. There's a difference.
Right.
Like when you're on a vacation, you're in the hotel, or you're in the resort, and you're just using the facilities of that place or whatever. You're just chilling, not doing activities. So, yeah. But no man, travel blogging, not for me. Just मुझे लगता travel blogging कर सकते हैं फिर भी. It's nicer. But vlogging is like I've hung out with vloggers, and I
think it gets very tiring.
Yeah, doesn't feel organic to me. You know.
Do you have any favorite YouTube channels when it comes to travel vlogging?
Oh yeah, there are these there's Vagabond Brothers. There's these two brothers, the Vaga Boys or the Vaga something. They have like some pun, but they're two brothers. I really enjoy their vlogs. Fun. I only watch them because they're hot. That's it. There's no other reason.
That's a nice filter. That's a very easy filter.
Yeah, but I mean, अगर मुझे किसी place के बारे में like sincerely research करना है, then vlogs are not it. Then I only read blogs. When I read blogs, if I want to travel somewhere in India, then I read this blog called Hippie in Heels. She's a white lady, although she's not living anymore. She's passed away. But her blog is very popular and she's extensively researched a lot of places in India. Yeah. So I follow her blog. And there's this other traveler called Drew Binsky. Again, he is on Instagram. He makes good travel videos. I enjoy his. Nice. And then there was another traveler called Nadine. Nadine was a good, her channel is called Hey Nadine. Okay. But I stopped watching travel vloggers after a point. Like I only read blogs if I wanted to research, or Lonely Planet.
How do you book, like you said you booked a hotel stay in Ladakh, etc. Like, is there a particular website that you have your favorite, or like is it like through someone else, or do you reach there and then you decide where you're going to stay? Just asking because I'm very confused in that. Like I am terrible with bookings.
So if I'm going abroad, I only stay in hostels. I like living in hostels. I really like that culture because I never stayed in a hostel ever in my life. So I find the idea of like sharing a bathroom with people really exotic. Because I never lived that life. So I'll research, like there's this app called Hostel World and I'll find all the hostels over there.
Okay.
But I don't book on Hostel World. I go on the hostel's website because I get a cheaper rate on their website. And sometimes you get like deals, like you get like a breakfast combo deal, which you may not get on Hostel World. So I research the availability of the bunk and everything. I use that aggregator, but then I go, because I think it's helpful to the hostel also to not give that fee to an aggregator. But in Ladakh, when I went, the hostel culture was not there. Like there was no hostel in India at that time. And also when you go to these smaller villages, they have homestay options. So you just find like boards over there, homestays. And then you just approach them. That's it. Kabhi kabar agar Lonely Planet mein mention kar diya, to kar diya. But wo updated version ho na ho.
Mostly you have to be very impromptu, right?
Yeah. So if I travel, then I'll make like a rough skeleton of what I want my itinerary to look like. And then I'll give myself the flexibility to like pick and choose wherever I want to stay. But if I'm going abroad, then I'll book my hostels in advance क्योंकि अच्छे वाले यूं निकल जाते हैं.
Nice.
So yeah.
I've just realized how impromptu you have to be when it comes to traveling.
You have to truly enjoy it. Like you have to really just want to explore. And once
I feel very challenged because every day needs to be decided. Okay, cool. I'm going to leave from here. This is the bus I'm going to take. Okay, this is the place I have to stay. So check-in is at this time. Okay. Like I think that will have to go. That'll really
and you'll deal with it. Like I used to always get like you'll always have your things with travel. Like for you, this is it. For me, it used to be the FOMO part. Ki shit, ye wala reh gaya. Ye dekhna reh gaya.
I make lists that I need to do and the time. Okay, this part is the best on an evening. So like everything has to be circled. Like iska evening, iska morning, like everything has to be.
Yeah. Dude, I remember I was in Turkey. And I was staying in this place for like, my thing is, if I'm staying in a place and I like to stay for minimum 3 nights, because that's how much time I'll take to settle in and like become a little familiar with the place. And always there will be a Chinese traveler who is staying only for 1 night, but they have seen 3 times the things that I will even manage to see in 3 days. They've managed to shop, they've managed to see all the sightseeings, they've managed to have all the experiences, they've gone on a food trail, wine trail, everything they finished in one night. And I'm like, how is your time management so good?
I don't think they stay long or enjoy it.
I mean,
it's just like, oh, this is done, cool, take it, we've been here, take.
But that's, I mean, they enjoy it. That gives them enjoyment, you know. I would also like to see all the things they've seen, लेकिन उनका जो enthumeter होता है ना, वो enthusiasm मैं कभी match ही नहीं कर सकती. मैं थक जाती हूँ, dude. I'm just like,
yeah,
I'll leave like the first half for sightseeing, and then the second half I want to sit in a cafe. I want to like experience coffee and read a book.
And I think I like that as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I prefer that. I'm a mix of hectic and a laid back traveler. So
right. I think I like to be a very laid back traveler, but then I like to have like things booked. Like I don't want to waste any time, but then I also want like space to relax.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you want to unwind also.
Right. Do you also have some favorite like what are the most favorite so apart from Ladakh, are there any, like, if somebody's not into treks and maybe they just want to go and explore some place where it's heritage, A, and B, shopping, what are those two places that you recommend? I'm so sorry, I'm just trying to be selfish. I'm just getting
no problem
for myself.
Also, Ladakh is not just for trekking. You can enjoy the place as a heritage thing also. But Hampi is a nice place heritage wise. It is like India's Cambodia, Angkor Wat, I would say.
And how much time should you like dedicate to Hampi? Like how much time should you ideally have in your itinerary?
I mean, some people I know have gone for like 2 days also. Some people have gone for 3 days also. मैं तो एक हफ्ते के लिए गई थी. Because again, my itinerary was like 1 day sightseeing, 1 day chill, 1 day sightseeing, 1 day chill. So like I went, and then on the chill days I would like just rent a bike and drive to like ride on the bike and like go to like the other villages, and or like the place where I was staying was like surrounded by paddy fields, so I would just like walk in the fields and like play with cows and like just like, you know, just eat food, hang out with like the owner. There was like this place called Benjamin's Music Cafe and Food. And there was this lady called Esther who made food for me. So one day I just like hung out with her. Whole day I hung out with her. She went to buy vegetables. I went with her to the vegetable market. I helped her in the kitchen. Yeah, it was just like, so on chill days I like to do these things. And then on the hectic days, like you go sightseeing and stuff like that.
And is there like any particular thing that you get from every place, that like some people like to get perfumes, some people like to get books, or like, is there one particular thing that you like, or like, do you get?
No, but I wish I was that person. Honestly, I've given shopping least importance because I was always a backpacker. So when I started traveling, I was quite chindi, you know, so I wanted to save every penny that I could for a good meal and for just a good stay, like, and if I could save more than for the next trip. So because yeah, like I was giving it, I was sponsoring my travel from like my comedy money, which was not a lot. So I had to I don't know why I just didn't give shopping importance. Like I just spend a lot on traveling only, and I book my flights very last minute, you know, kyunki according to my shows and my writing projects and stuff like that, I have to schedule that in. So a lot of good travelers will like plan in advance so that they get the best flight rates and stuff like that. I didn't have that liberty. So I think a lot of my money would go in like last minute flight bookings. I remember once I went to Cambodia. अगर मैंने आज डिसाइड किया कि मुझे कंबोडिया जाना है और मैं परसों निकल गई, मैंने ऐसे गई हूँ कंबोडिया एक ही बार गई हूँ.
That's amazing. That's so inspiring. I've been planning to go home for like a month now, and my struggle is कि I think the moment I'm not working, I find it difficult to relax. If I'm not working, if I'm idle, I'm like, what am I missing out on? What is that bad thing that's going to happen? And the thing
Yeah.
is, every time I take a vacation, I feel guilty about it. And then I feel double guilty if I have to take another vacation for like getting over that vacation because I was just tired when I came back.
Yeah.
And that guilt trip is just like so much so that I just am like, let me just stay here until like find a better time for this.
You will feel guilty about like shit, काम से इतना दूर हूँ. But honestly, if you just let go of that and immerse yourself in that holiday,
Yeah.
you might again,
Just
you're
feel
also,
guilty but happy.
yeah, and you'll find so many ideas over there for maybe like, like a pod, or maybe like somebody you'll find interesting over there to like just meet, get on the pod or something. If you just let go of the work thoughts, uh your mind will open up creatively a lot, is what I find with travel. I just switch off, and I like to pick places where there is no comedy, as I told you, क्योंकि अगर comedy हो तो करनी ही है. So I pick places where there is no comedy so that I can just genuinely switch off.
That's
Once
nice.
you switch off, I promise you will get good rewards.
Nice. And this was, I think this was one question. So we had a travel vlogger once, and this was one question that kept on coming. And I don't remember the name of the girl who was asking it, but she was like, when you're traveling solo as a girl,
Yeah.
what are the things that you have to take care of? And are there any things that you would recommend other girls who want to start solo traveling, but like have never been on solo trips as such? Like, what would you recommend to them?
I would recommend that I learned to trust my instinct a lot more after traveling. So you will learn to trust your gut. Like, you will know. But one of the things I would say, tips would be, I know you're traveling alone to meet new people, but do it with tact when you meet new people. Don't be innocent and just tell them immediately where you're staying. Don't be,
Yeah.
if you're living in a hotel, don't just say कि अरे मेरा होटल तो इधर ही है, ये वाला, अरे वो गली के पीछे. Don't do all of that. If you're living in a hostel, that's fine. I suppose that should be okay. But if you're living in a hotel private, please don't do it. Travel in India first, I would say. Honestly, people think traveling in India is unsafe, but I have never faced anything जब मेरा फोन चोरी हुआ है, इंडिया के बाहर ही चोरी हुआ है. इंडिया में तो कभी चोरी कुछ हुई ही नहीं है. People are more than, in fact, when you travel alone, I don't know now, so many girls travel alone, but they are only so concerned to see a woman traveling alone that they feel doubly protective about you. Come back home. If you're going in a city to party, then don't get drunk. Basically, if you're going, like, a lot of hostels will have like pub crawls and stuff like that, right? So if you're a solo traveler, don't go too crazy, because it's not safe. Again, these are like from experiences. Every time I've gone for a pub crawl, I am mentally prepared कि या तो मेरा चश्मा जाने वाला है, या तो मेरा वॉलेट जाने वाला है, या तो मेरा फोन जाने वाला है. और जिस दिन मैं पब क्रॉल के लिए गई एंड ऑल थ्री थिंग्स आर विथ मी, आई एम लाइक, ओहो, आज तो मतलब काफी रिस्पॉन्सिबल बिहेवियर कर लिया. So and if you're going in a, like, if you're going to Hampi or if you're going to Ladakh, please come back home. Don't stay out after sunset for too long. I know I sound like a lot of moms right now, but just follow these 2-3 protocols. If you're I think that's what. Always carry like a scarf with you, a full sleeve t-shirt with you, and
Nice.
yeah, that's it.
There's this okay, this is, I will wrap up soon, no? Like, I don't know about you, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm cool with anything. मतलब मैंने dinner नहीं किया है, so I would like to have dinner for sure.
I don't know. I was like, hey, do you want to? I don't know. But there's this documentary, and it's called A Year on Ice. It's about Antarctica. It took 10 years to film it, and this guy made his equipment at home and everything. And it actually takes up a bunch of people. It records their experience of spending a year on ice, like what it feels like, spending a year in Antarctica, what it's like throughout the year, from star trails to everything. Highly, highly recommended. It'll change your life.
Beautiful.
But there's this one scene in that movie that's still like one of the many reasons why I love that documentary is this woman is describing the first time she saw the Southern Lights. And she says, this was the
Oh,
AC to BD event of my life when things changed. I saw that light. I saw that light in the air. And before I knew it, I was down on the ground on my knees crying. Has
that's
it ever happened to
amazing.
you? Like, not down on the ground crying, but like a moment where you were just like, I feel whole in this moment. If I could, I would die in the next moment. I wouldn't even have any regrets. Has it ever happened to you?
Um, I think I think that happens to me when I climb mountains, like when I climb peaks, and then when I see like layers and seas of like just mountain peaks in a row. I think that's when I feel like that. Like, because tum khud chal ke gaye ho, you've earned this view, right? That's when I feel. I remember I climbed this peak called Stoke. Okay, it's not Stoke Kangri, that's different. STOK, that's another village, but that's also a high peak.
Mm-hmm.
And I climbed it. I was alone, and I was really proud, okay, of that feat. And I sat, and that is the first time I gave meditation a try, and I was like, I feel like I'm one with myself. I'm going to sit here and just count my blessings, and I'm going to meditate. And then and I was really missing home. And then in 5 minutes, I hear Gujarati. Okay, in 5 minutes, and I'm like, क्या? Am I इतना मैं अपनी फैमिली को मिस कर रही हूँ कि मुझे आवाजें सुनाई दे रही हैं? And then धीरे धीरे 2, 4, 6, 10, 15 बच्चों का school trip was on that peak, and I'm telling you, I was like, what the fuck, for like 2 minutes. But then they started circulating theplas, and I was missing my home so much that I truly appreciated those theplas in my mouth at that moment. So at that was my moment when I was on my knees, and I was like, thank you.
This is so nice, so nice.
So yeah, I think that was my moment. But Southern Lights is a phenomena that I also came to know of recently. मुझे हमेशा Northern Lights ही पता था. But Southern Lights is also a concept which I didn't know of.
Yeah.
But
sometimes I feel like, okay, I shouldn't like. Sometimes I feel, are we living in the uncool place? Like, यहाँ कुछ नहीं होता है. There are no Northern Lights, Southern Lights. There's no aliens, etc., etc. Like, I don't.
Aliens, तो मतलब पता नहीं. लेकिन we don't live in that area, so we are like enthralled by Northern Lights and everything.
They must be enthralled by humility.
They are enthralled by yoga.
Yeah.
They are like, but I've met people from Sweden, and they're like, it's normal for us. Like, we've grown up seeing this. Like, it's not an anomaly for us. It's very normal. तुम लोग आके like, oh my god करते हो. So
yeah. Nice. But you should definitely check out this documentary, A Year on Ice.
Done. I'm gonna message you again because I won't remember. But I will message you again and ask you.
But yeah, this is great. I hope you'll enjoy your dinner. No.
For sure. Yeah. I have palak soup and salad and khichdi.
Nice. That's healthy. That's healthy.
Yeah.
But do you have any final words before I wrap this up for the people who are still watching, or like in general, something that you wished
my final words
before you like before I end this podcast?
My final words, I was like, you remember when Rajesh Khanna died, and they were like, Rajesh Khanna's final words were pack up. Like, fuck off, dude. Kuch bhi. No, I had a great time, Vani. Thank you for having me. This was great. It was lovely. I've been on a podcast for a really long time, and I'm a huge fan of the channel. So, guys, please like, share, subscribe, keep liking the stream, and tell your friends about it. And yeah, that's about it. So, finally, did you decide what is the short form of the channel? Is it CT or is it CCT?
I wanted to be CCT. We haven't
I
discussed
voted for
it.
CCT.
I voted for CCT as well.
CCT is so much better. Not
Well,
CT. CT is
it
like
is like
CT.
I thought CT scan, but yes.
Exactly. But I thought of CT.
CCT. But yeah, guys, thank you so much, especially those who are still watching us. Thank you, guys. And yeah, do like, share, and subscribe if you like this stream. Comment. I don't know. Should we give them like, I don't know. I don't want to be embarrassed when nobody comments this, but if you're still watching us, please comment kar do jaake, and maybe just comment here for CCT or something. And yeah, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. And Sonali will be coming back on Chalchitra Talks again
Yes.
for the quarters of the movie quiz. So stay tuned. And yeah, take care. Good night.
Good
Bye.
night.